Welcome into the Ringerverse. This is, of course, the Ringers Nexus podcast feed for all things fandom. We are Steve, the architect, Ahlman, the builder and tinkerer of things. We are Jomi, the explainer, Adeniran. You've got questions, he's got answers. We are Old Man Van. He, the receding resurgent hairline, Coke, Baby Chuck, the 24-karat closer. Together we are known as the Midnight Boys. We're also on socials, Insta, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Jomi?
Guys, I want to come to you guys with something real serious right now.
All right.
So last week we had a question on the podcast about our Mount Rushmore of content, nerd culture content.
Yep.
And it was your idea, Chuck, to like post a graphic, let people know.
I thought it would be. I
love.
thought people would want to comment and be like, "Oh, this is my Mount Rushmore. This is what I fell in love with."
That is not what they did, actually.
Yeah.
All they did was spend time hating on us and what we love. And so
and glazing Charles apparently for the one thing that
my
he's
good
clearly
taste.
won, which wasn't a contest. But yeah.
that was the funny part. Was like, man, Charles won. It's like
Wasn't really
not
a game,
contest.
but-
It wasn't really a contest. We were just choosing the stuff that we
Yeah,
liked.
you got it the worst, Jomi. I'm
Oh
like,
my
God
bro.
damn.
So I posted
Brandon's
that-
strong.
Plus on a Saturday, right? My day off, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, hey, yeah, let me get people some content, you know? Matt James worked really hard on that graphic through Friday night. So I was like, yeah, let me get it up and hopefully people will, you know, share the stuff that they love. I'm thinking the same way as you, Chuck. My mentions for like the 24 hours after that, you dumb it, you fat bitch. How dare you like Asian and shit? I was like, damn, I can't load nothing. I was like, yo.
That's great.
I don't know if
content
they got
to me.
that
It was
crazy.
Yeah, I
crazy.
think the people were a little confused because
Probably.
normally when the graphics come out, we've gamified something. And
It's
it wasn't
fair.
the case here.
It's fair.
Just sharing some love.
Everything
man.
not a game, though.
Sharing some love.
Everything
not
not
a
a game. We're not playing no more.
We're on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, share. You can watch every Midnight Boys and House of Art episode on youtube.com/@Ringerverse and also on Spotify. Program reminders. House of Art brings you there. Stranger Things Season 1 Revisit. We're back there already, huh?
Mhm.
This Friday, Button Mash returns with their thoughts on Death Stranding 2. What the fuck is that?
It's
The sequel to Death Stranding.
Yeah,
Is Death Stranding a video? It's a video game?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously.
starring
So-
Norman Reedus and a bunch of other celebrities.
So what do you? Oh, I seen that.
By Kojima.
Yeah.
Kojima.
I saw
my
that.
goat.
I saw that. That trailer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It looks like a lot.
It is a lot. Basically, you're a dude that's like basically like traveling and delivering packages across the country, and you're fighting ghosts while doing jobs for the president. It's very crazy and involved.
It's like post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Post-apocalyptic. Also coming soon, our latest episode of Ringerverse Recommends. I already know I'm recommending.
Oh yeah.
Oh, don't
Yeah,
tell.
I'm
Don't
not
tell.
telling you one.
Don't say nothing.
Because you guys, I'll tell you something about Lindbergh. You guys jump on the recommends like fucking barracudas. By the time it gets back to me, there's nothing left to do. Another thing that pissed me off about Jack Sanders is that he asked me to do something for the big pick, and then we gotta pick movies, the
Yeah.
movies of the year,
Yeah.
and then he goes, "You can't pick Cinders." How can I not pick Cinders?
That's how you know, because he
Actually
reached out to me too, and I'm just like, oh, so like me and Van, you know, the leading black voices at the Ringer, we don't get reached out to
You
first.
just fucked over Rachel like crazy. Oh my God. That's just like
if I'm gonna be honest, Rachel don't be around the office like that.
Wow.
She don't really be like she
Rachel,
literally come in.
Rachel,
and
you
leave.
hear this?
She don't be
Rachel,
like,
I know you
oh.
watching Rachel.
Does
you gonna
she?
let this disrespect stop?
Does-
Me
not
personally?
only is Rachel watching, we're gonna make sure she watched because we're breaking this out. So
coming soon to higher learning.
Whoa, I might be wrong. When we all go and we all like chopping it up, we say hi to everybody. I never see Rachel go to the other building.
wow.
Rachel, fight
Oh.
back.
Rachel chose, we should give it up for Mallory Rubin, Face of the Ring.
Hell yeah.
Rachel chose it. I think she had it in for CR, but
That honestly, she beefing with me. She beefing with CR. What's going on with
I think she's starting to stake her claim.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
I think she
Wow.
wants to stake her claim of the Ringer. I think you guys have asked for more Rachel, you're gonna get more Rachel. Okay.
Rachel
But-
has never been on the Midnight Boys.
Never been on the Midnight Boys, never done it. Okay.
Could have been on for this episode.
But one of us should have got Sinners. That's all I'm saying.
Who got sinners?
Fucking Mahoney. Okay.
Ah.
Iced
Yeah,
out from
so here's the
Mahoney.
thing.
Taking over the Ringer.
Mahoney's my guy. That's
I
love
love
that
my
dude.
dude.
Yeah,
I
he
love
is
Mahoney.
he's the Remick.
He is
the
fucking
Remick?
taking over.
Yeah.
That is wild that Mahoney, though.
And then
So it was first come,
Jack,
first serve.
And then Jack Sanders asked me to do something else. I did it for Jack, right? I did it for Jack, and then I come in here, Jack won't do my gimmick in front of the director of Top Gun Maverick. Okay? It's like You guys have come up with gimmicks for me. I do y'all's gimmicks.
Like what?
Van is old.
Right.
Great gimmick. By the way,
I got to think of
Steve-
more socially dangerous gimmicks for you,
I'll
though.
tell you,
Because
Steve, great gimmick creator.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like a gimmick master on the level of a Van Lathan. Maybe
Gimmick
better.
general, if you will.
I just
Gimmick-
use, I use my
gimmick.
powers for good.
Steve's gimmicks-
I use my powers for good. I'm
Yeah,
benevolent.
Steve's gimmicks are like fun and light. Your gimmicks are like, hey, commit a hate crime.
You guys this is so much bullshit. First of all, when think about gimmicks, transgressions is a gimmick.
Yeah, well,
With
yeah,
that. There are a lot of gimmicks. There are a lot of gimmicks
a
that come
younger
up with.
staffer to say it's nigger time in front of the director of F1 the movie is probably not what you want to be doing with your power here.
Right. You have to understand that.
You guys are probably right.
It'd be so funny if Kaczynski just overheard, he's like, nigger time.
If he'd have said it, that would have been great. Because I
And he's
feel
like, I like this place.
I feel like if I say it, and then if Jack Sanders would have said it, then Kaczynski would have been like, "Oh shit,
is
that's what we had?
it's
This
that
what
kind of
you
regular
had
place.
time. His next movie might have been F1 2. It's nigga time.
Dempsey Idris just pops over to fucking coffee bar.
It's nigga time.
Freeze
Think
frame.
about if he did. That's the type of shit that people don't think, man. We gotta democratize.
At some point, we got to talk about Ironheart, though, fellas.
I apologize. On today's show, we have our reactions to the season premiere of Ironheart, which you could probably guess we're dying to talk about. So tough based upon some recent episodes that we've had. So let's just get into it. MCU spoiler warning for everything to date. We're getting ready to talk about Ironheart. You're listening to a reaction podcast. The spoilers are coming. To begin our reactions, we once again bring you the Midnight Manifest. Chuck, take it away.
All right, this is your Midnight Manifest for Ironheart, the first 3 episodes. Head writer is Shanaka Hodge. All 3 episodes directed by Sam Bailey. Episode 1 was written by Hodge, while the second was written by Mallory Howard, and the third by Francesca and Jacqueline J. Gales. Riri gets expelled at MIT for helping other students cheat, but before she leaves, the young inventor takes her prototype iron suit with her. Unfortunately, without the school's AI system, the suit crashes on Riri's way back to Chicago. Back home, we learn that Riri's stepfather and best friend Natalie were murdered in a drive-by before she left for MIT. Eventually, the young inventor is scouted by the Hood, a rising criminal with a demonic hood who's blackmailing Chicago's CEO with the help of his group of Ocean 11's wannabes. Along the way, Riri meets Joe, a tech ethicist who has all the parts she needs to upgrade her suit. It doesn't take long before Joe reveals he's actually the son of Obadiah Stane. Our new friend Ezekiel and Riri bond just in time for Ironheart to be getting suspicious of the Hood. During their next heist, Riri cuts off a piece of the Hood's clothing to test out if the cloth is really magic, but the heist goes terribly wrong. The Hood goes on a rampage, and Riri leaves the Hood's right-hand man Joe for dead after he tried to kill her. At home, Riri has a panic attack as she realizes she's placed herself, family, and Ezekiel in trouble. And that has been your Midnight Manifest. Take us away, Van. Please, before we start, just remember that this is a safe space. We respect our sisters, our women. Please don't get too saji.
I try not to. So here's the deal. When there are 3 here's the deals, you know that it can't be that great.
It's not a great deal.
Okay, so let's have a conversation here.
Oh, boy.
This is already going. Whenever I see a black man going, all right.
No.
Hey, let's.
What does a successful version of Ironheart do? I want to have a conversation around expectation for the show involving everyone.
Sure.
What does a successful version of this show do to you guys?
So I was actually thinking about this, and this is why I believe Ironheart was actually potentially the most difficult Disney Plus show to make successful, because I think Iron Man still is one of, if not the most important superhero movies, especially for Marvel, in terms of what it does for them, where it puts them on the map, the MCU, superhero movies in general. We have such a love for that character. And I think when you first are like, all right, we're introducing Ironheart based on the comics. She's a young black woman who takes on the mantle. I do think you have to sit long and hard and be like, all right, how do we get people to really invest in the same way that you invested in that original movie? And I think that's very, very difficult to do with a new actress. I think it's very difficult to do on TV. I think it's very difficult to do on Disney Plus. So a successful show like this, I think, would make me believe in the same way that when you saw Spider-Verse, you're like, Miles Morales is Spider-Man. I think a successful version of Ironheart is going to make me think like, this is someone who can take over for Tony, that I want to see them for years. That like, maybe they're not going to reach the charisma level of Robert Downey Jr. or whatever. They're not going to be that important. But like narratively and structurally, I'm like, okay, I can believe that this person is in the suit and they're interesting and I want to root for them. And it's hard to get that cinematic power and just drive from Disney Plus.
Yes and no, I think, though. I think that, yes, you do want somebody who, like, for me, the ultimate goal is, when you leave this show, do you want to see Riri Williams in the larger MCU? Do you want to see her with the Young Avengers? Do you want to see her in other things, like whatever it may be? But when it's over and you're like, man, no matter what happens, I would like to see this character again somewhere down the line. I think that's the mark of a successful Ironheart show. I don't think, like, the Tony Stark comp, while like I get it, it's tough. I mean, they only make one of those, right? And if you're like, we need to have another Tony Stark, we need to have another Iron Man, brother, you're asking for a lot. You're asking for way too much.
Or at least someone who can get it within the realm. Like someone who I feel like gets within the realm, if we're being real. It's a different character. But I think Tom Holland's Spider-Man had a very similar trajectory of, we had already gotten 2 Spider-Men. We have to introduce this character that's going to essentially be the beating heart of our universe. And to me, I'm like, the failing of this show is that, like, right now, Spider-Man to me is more of that Iron Man role, emotionally, narratively, cinematically, than the person who has the actual Iron Man.
So, like, it's also, but they're always playing Peter Parker, right? It's whether it's Toby, whether it's Andrew, whether it's Tom, it's still Peter Parker, right? And so, and it's also Spider-Man. Like, we know Spider-Man, we know Peter Parker. It's easier for us on that level to be like, we know that guy, we know what he's supposed to do. Let's get into it. As difference of Ironheart, it's, a Black woman. It's a character that's like relatively new to comics. Like, we're learning a lot about her in like a small amount of time versus we have years and years of history with Peter Parker. It's way easier to get there with Tom than it is to get there with Dominique Thorne, just like baseline, And so the show, while it does have a lot of work to do in making us feel that like we need her, to see her more in other movies and TV shows, whatever it may be, I think that it could still do the job, because when we left Miss Marvel, we were like, mixed up on the show, whatever. We were like, man, love to see Iman Vellani in, the Marvels or Young Avengers. We want to see this specific character in the wider MCU, whatever it may be.
I agree with what Jomi's saying. I think that the biggest disadvantage that this show and kind of a lot of MCU television fare has had is because there hasn't really been a nucleus for the MCU to kind of center itself around for so long. Like, we're on the eve of like Doomsday and all these big event movies, and we really don't know who our North Star is. And I think to stack somebody like Riri Williams up against a character like Iron Man or Tony Stark, just to even think about like, oh, this is the person that we would look to just because that's who Tony was, I think that's a very unfair comparison for a lot of people to put onto that character, because A, we don't know them that much, and because of the lack of history in the comics, it's a relatively newer character to comics canon. That introduces kind of a bit of a blank slate for the character that you want to make and present into an MCU that can be different from the comics, that can be something that you want to either make a sort of like key player on a street level, or make somebody whose genius ascends them up to the level of Avengers because they're the smartest person in the room. They can be the most forward-thinking and charismatic person there. I think the biggest failing that the show has is it doesn't make any of those successful attempts in the beginning
before
of that.
we get there, because we're going to talk about some of the biggest failings of the show.
Sure.
I think the reason why I wanted to start with this question is because I think that the answer, in my opinion, the answer is pretty simple.
Sure.
All the show has to do is actually sell Riri Williams.
Yeah.
Because that's all Iron Man actually had to do.
Yeah, we just got to like her.
Iron Man, not even that. We just have to know her. Iron Man is obviously played with a tremendous amount of charisma from Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
However, the only thing that Iron Man, the movie, did was make you believe that that guy was the only guy who could have done what they did. That's all that it did. Like, legitimately, you see a dude, he doesn't seem to care about anything. You realize that through the performance that there's probably something more to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he gets put in an impossible situation. Remember, we have Iron Man comics, but we didn't have this. Iron Man was somewhat of a blank slate for the larger movie-going audience, right?
Yeah.
We get him in there. He saves himself by building the Mach 1, and then he escapes, and you can see through both what's happening to his body and what's happened to him psychologically that he's different. And you believe it. You believe it because you saw him in a dungeon. You saw him say, fuck what you want me to do. I'm going to build something to save me. But he also had the expertise to do it. So what you saw from that character, establishing that character, was wherewithal. You saw the rebellious nature that was going to define Iron Man forever. And then you also saw the charisma of the character. The only thing this show had to do was be so much about her that we understood why she wants to do what she wants to do. But not just from exposition and dialogue. Like, we need to see what's making her do this. We need to see how good she is at it. And we need to believe that there's much more to the character. That's what I needed to see from the show. And I guess now I'll ask you, Steve, if this show, at least in the first 3 episodes, needed to make Riri Williams a brand new character, cool and formidable and awesome, is it doing it?
The simplest answer is no.
Does anyone say yes?
I think this character took, honestly, a step back from when she was introduced in Wakanda Forever.
Without a doubt.
I think that's probably fair.
This is the show is hurting the character that we got in Wakanda Forever, which was a much, much, much more competent debut for the character. Almost to the point to where after watching these 3 shows, I wonder if they should have released it.
Really?
Yeah.
You guys are going to kill me for saying this. We was killing Marvel and Kevin. I'm like, Feige might have been like, hey, yo, my black brothers and sisters, y'all been too much. We going to bury this just so it don't.
Yeah, but how does that look if we're like, hey, we're going to bury the lead of
you guys,
our...
Man, I don't know
they
if
had to put it out. I
of course they
understand
did.
that. But if you look at Civil War, the way Black Panther debuts in that movie, yo, when Riri Williams is in Wakanda Forever, I thought the character really worked. I enjoyed it. I thought the whole thing was dope. And then when they bring her into this world, nothing is sticking. And I don't know why I can't.
Well, can I ask you this? If we take Iron Man, if we take Black Panther, if we take Spider-Man, could any of those worked on Disney Plus first? And what I mean by that is, like, the first Iron Man movie works because it is a movie. Where it's like Black Panther, if they were just like, all right, we're introducing Black Panther in Civil War, and now the next thing you're getting is a Disney Plus show. I don't think Black Panther, because I'm like, it is way harder to me to make 6 to 8 good episodes of TV. That is and you have $200 million or whatever, versus, all right, we're giving you 150, 200 to make a 90-minute film. I'm like, making movies is hard, but I was just like, even in this, I was just like, oh, it's like, they're struggling to even have the actual Iron Suit in this. So they're running around trying to kind of hide it.
So you're saying that, like, you think of not so much a dumbed down version, but a simpler approach to a simpler story could have served this better rather than trying
I
to.
think origin. Here's the thing. I think origin stories, in terms of superhero storytelling, I think we would be having a different conversation about Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Ironheart at this point if they were actual movies. I don't know how they would do at the box office, but I think we would be thinking of those characters and how important they are to the MCU differently if we had gotten an origin movie about them. If we had gotten an Ant-Man Disney Plus show, Ant-Man wouldn't be what Ant-Man became.
So let me ask you this. How does Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and Loki jive with you in that?
So for me, those are interesting because all of those characters had already been introduced in multiple movies. So even if they weren't at the center of the frame, we had gotten enough of Wanda and Vision or Loki or all these other characters where we're not starting at zero with them. So the TV shows almost are like, okay, like how can we take what we know about the characters and then open the world once they're the lead of their own thing, versus what what Disney Plus became, which is just like, oh, we have to convince you that Miss Marvel is important on the small screen, which is so much more, which is just so much more.
The reason why
difficult.
I bring them up is because even though we hadn't had multiple movies with Riri Williams, we had one. And we had one where we had gotten to know her a little bit. We had already been to MIT. We had seen what she could do. And so I think that this show had something different to do. I think what this show had to do, to your point, was open the world, but give us an expansion of the lore of Riri, right? Like WandaVision did. You take Wanda, a character who we know, and you put her in a different circumstance where we have to find her again. Loki. You take Loki, a character that we know, and you put him in a different circumstance where we have to find him again. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is kind of about Steve growing into the mantle of Captain America. Kind of about Sam growing into the mantle of Captain America. For this, they almost take Riri back to zero.
Yes.
She doesn't have the, let's just talk about the show.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the suit anymore.
Kicked out of MIT.
She gets kicked out of MIT. So I suppose that they're trying to do the same thing that they've done for other characters that have been on Disney Plus, which is like Wanda almost has to be depowered, right? Loki almost has to be depowered, right?
Same thing with Spider-Man. They stripped away, like the suit was taken away from him, then he goes back to basics.
But also what you're bringing up, WandaVision, Loki, and to a lesser extent, Falcon and the Winter Soldier to me are creations that are serving TV. Where I'm just like, oh, the most interesting, I don't think WandaVision, the movie, would have been good. I think WandaVision, the TV show, is good because I'm just like, they are working within the parameters of TV. Same thing with Loki. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I would be that interested in a Loki movie, but the continuing adventures of Loki in this world and the TVA serves that. Where I'm just like, oh, with Ironheart, I'm like, oh, you guys are trying to make an origin for Riri Williams. You're trying to make a Chicago crime story, a heist story, and all of these
things. A magic story?
Oh, yeah, something about magic.
I'm like, this is a lot of shit to try to get accomplished in 6 episodes. And like, I think the big failing of the show is I can look at all of the individual components and be like, yo, in the pitch room, that shit sounds dope. All of these are really smart choices. But in the actual like execution of all those, it just falls so flat.
Okay, yeah. Also, Cal, you know what I want to talk. I do not mean to be insulting, but I want to talk to some of the Black people at Marvel, because we don't talk like that.
No,
I was
shut up.
The show is not like that. Nobody talks like that.
This is not. I can't believe you walk into the landmine every time. Go back and look at Steve's response to. Like,
could we do a rewind of Steve?
Steve, you do it to yourself every time.
How do Black people talk? Like, what was the problem?
No, but I found myself watching the show and I'm like, who talks like this? Nobody. I've been around this world. Nobody talks like that.
Because this
been
are
around
you
this
saying?
world.
Are you saying This ain't how the
Jesus.
Chicago blacks talk. This is your
Wow.
hood.
Oh,
This
this your hood.
is your hood.
Rep your set.
Come on.
Throw
It might-
your
it
shit
might
out.
I'm
not-
talking to Shy.
This might not be an accurate representation of people that I've encountered in that city.
Wow.
There you go. Steve at Harold's Chicken.
It's great.
Steve, like, I know how they talk. That's not how they
That's
talk.
not how my niggas talk.
Okay, all right. Niggas talk. You know,
I mean,
not-
it
there
almost,
is
I will say,
unfolding them graves. That's not.
I will say there's a moment that broke me early on where I think it's Natalie where
Yeah.
someone says, "How, Sway?" And I was like, hey, yo, what? Because here's the thing. They said Houseway, and then a couple minutes later, they had a sister, go home Roger joke. And that was a moment where I'm like, y'all just need to have like one like real ass dude in the writer's room to be like, hey, yo.
Nah, stop that.
First of all, no one talks like that. Second of all, I am 32. I'm assuming Riri is in her early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me she was not only watching Sister, a show that I was watching when I was in elementary school, but also she knows who Sway Calloway is, and she was watching the Kanye interview?
Oh, Sway a legend.
So here's the thing.
I mean, that is a viral thing.
No. But here's the thing.
We haven't said that in like 10 years, though.
I understand.
I have not said that in 10 years.
It is a dated meme, yes.
Riri Williams is like 20.
Well, by the way, I'm sure that there are many talented black people that are in
Yes.
the writers' rooms and, a part of the creative intelligentsia that make this show. But I would say that this is part of my skepticism, or it shows a lack of confidence that I sometimes have in cultural storytelling when it's not done at places that are like incredibly black, or when it doesn't have the oversight of really strong and powerful black creative.
Well, what would you say to this though? But
let me tell you what I mean. By the way, this is gonna sound like a diss, but it's not. Like when you look at Coogler and like Black Panther, it is just ridiculously authentic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculously authentic. But they not speaking in social media language.
Yeah.
They're not. Like little things.
Well, it's not even
like,
social media language.
Like little things, right? So at the beginning of Black Panther, Oakland, the kids are talking regular. It's just two shorts playing in the background while they're playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing basketball at night in Oakland. They're wearing like hoodies. It's cold in the Bay. Like and then when you see Sterling K. Brown's, it's like hide the straps. And then he goes right to, you're there. It's for real.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes when we get stuff from these corporations, we get it like we get it in commercials. Like this feels a little bit like a commercial. It feels like a corporation trying to sell something to black people,
right,
rather than black expression.
Like it's been focus grouped out of its authenticity.
It doesn't feel right.
I wouldn't even say that. Like to your point about it being like social media, like talk, it's also dated, right? We talked about Houseway. I went back and I'm like looking at it right now. I think her next line is some variation of "This could be us, but you tripping," and it's like that was a Twitter caption in 2013. Like these are things like that are like ancient that we don't really talk about. And I know that like you want to have that kind of authenticity. You want to have like, we're online, we do this, but like from a decade ago, that's what we're doing.
But also what I want to say is, someone correct me if I'm wrong. This is one of the production companies on this is Ryan Coogler's production company. Mm-hmm. I think obviously because he introduced Riri in Wakanda Forever.
He's like over the Wakanda part of the Marvel.
So my
MCU.
question to you then, Van, would be, to your point, I feel like Coogler has shown us, whether it's been with Fruitvale, Creed, now Sinners, that he's very good of not slipping into that, like painting black characters with such a broad brush where they are talking in dated language that seems very much like, a lot of times I'm like, this show seems like it was not. I know everybody in the writer's room, directors were talented. But the way it came off to me was, I'm like, it seems like you're trying to sell blackness to a white Disney audience. Like, this doesn't seem authentic.
Like I said,
to me.
it seems like when you put a bunch of people, back in the day, you remember the rap music that you would get in commercials?
Yes.
It would be like, yo, come there,
Hippity hop,
and
Reese's Puffs.
You know what I'm saying? And it would be like, all right, cool, hip hop is cool. You want to use it to sell something. But if, I'll tell you something different. There was rap that you would put in commercials, and then that was when LL Cool J did the Gap commercial. You was like, all right, well, Gap figured it out.
I remember
that was good. Like, I'm like, Gap figured it out. Gap put like LL Cool J in. I didn't like it when I was a kid. I was like, why the fuck is LL Cool J doing something for the Gap commercial? But he even shouted out FUBU in his rhyme. You guys didn't hear him. He just said for us, by us on the low. So, but y'all don't remember. Y'all too young. But like,
I remember FUBU.
Do I remember this?
I remember the commercial. I remember the commercial.
Shouting out in the commercial. Yeah. But I'm just saying that, like, when I watched the show, it felt like I was watching someone, to your point, trying. I was watching the show trying to be black rather than watching a show that was authentically and sincerely black.
My question was, how do you get to this point? Because you're in the industry where I'm just like, there was no one who was just like kind of like reading the scripts, watching back the dailies and being like, hey, yo, something's off a little bit.
I think that, honestly, I think there's probably a good answer for that. And when you say I'm in the industry, I'm not in the industry like the people that are creating this. They have much, much more accomplished careers. But I think what happens is you're actually trying to give a version of it that's palatable to a Disney Plus audience. You can't fucking put it. I'm sure that there are people out there that was like, you know what we should do? We should make The Wire with the suit. That's what we should do. It was like, we should make The Wire with the shoot. I'm sure the aspirations and the goals here are like, we should take this and we should make a grimy street level, and we should have her. There's a drive-by in there, but it doesn't feel, you don't feel any danger.
Those flashbacks, I was like, all right, this is Iron Man 2B. Like, it was
like,
that shit was crazy.
You don't feel any danger. It's probably people that are like, yo, what we should do is show how dangerous the streets of Chicago are, how much it sucks to be a black genius with no backing. You want a real rebellious character that's like, fuck MIT, fuck all of this. But you're doing the best version of that you can do for Disney Plus, which is why maybe you just don't do that. Maybe Riri, I can't say Riri, maybe her origin story, maybe she stays in Wakanda. Maybe she goes on an adventure abroad, like trying to smuggle the suit away from damage control or what's left of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something. Maybe Disney Plus, for what they needed to do, maybe they can't do the version of the story authentically that they wanted to do, because the show has great representation. The show has like the full gamut of ethnic and cultural representation is on the show. All of it.
I will say also, I know I make a lot of fun of Chicago. Chicago is one of the greatest and most beautiful cities I've ever been to. It's like one of my favorite places in the world. And I do think like they go to a Saba show, they make references where it's like, oh, this is for people who live in Chicago, if you've been to Chicago. So there, I do think I want to give them credit that they do try. Even if we're talking about the writing on just a fundamental level of them, like, why are people talking as, like, this is worse than Netflix dialogue. This is like, people are talking in ways where I'm like, why are you revealing this character's whole backstory in this fucking boring ass monologue? Like, why are people just walking around like this is an ABC fucking Family show? There was no tent. I'll be honest, even the choice to make the Natalie character AI and have her be this annoying presence throughout the whole, I was just like...
Which is, like, it's not untrue to the comics. Like, she does make an AI based off of her friend. But, like, and it's probably, like, at least personally, my misgivings about AI in general now. But, like, to know that, like, she as a friend is, like, soft confiding in her and the people around her are treating this AI as if this were her dead friend. Like, her mom is talking.
Oh, that to me is the most moving part of it. The single most moving scene.
Really?
The single most...
I hated that scene.
I loved it. because that was like a Black Mirror episode. Because that's how somebody would actually respond. Like the single most moving scene in the whole thing was like, I saw your friend. Like, can you make one of Gary? Because if you've lost somebody like that, you wouldn't give a fuck if it was AI, BI, CI, whatever. If you can see and talk to them again. Now, Riri is having this interaction with them to where it's like, she has to keep reminding herself that that's actually not Natalie.
Like when
Right.
she's at the hanging out in episode 3, and she says, "Remember when you?" and then she corrects herself.
Yeah,
And it's like when Natalie
she has that type of that is interesting to me.
Yeah.
But like the little moment where her mom goes, like, yeah, all of that stuff, and you can see it in her mother's face that she's still grieving because she's lost like 2 husbands, right?
Mhm.
And you can see it in her face. Her mother's greeting, and she goes, "Can you make one of Gary?" I was like, "Oh shit!" Like to me, it's like that's the show. This kind of cross section between this person who's capable of building this incredible technology, but also is just a person dealing with all of this trauma.
And that's, I think, the struggle here, because again, on paper, all of that like is very profound and actually very interesting, but the way that this show executes it is absolutely falling flat.
I
for
mean,
me.
even Riri, in terms of how they write her as a character, I had this problem with the boys. I have the problem with this. If you are going to make a character that is one of the smartest people on the earth, you need to do a good job of making them not make some of the dumbest decisions around. Or when they make a dumb decision, you need to do enough emotionally for me as an audience member to be like, oh, even a genius would make that mistake. There are parts in this episode where I'm like, all right, if Riri is this genius from Chicago, she saw her father and her best friend gunned down, why the fuck is she doing no research into the hood? The minute that Joe comes in, is just like, pays for her shit, and it's just like, hey, yo, you should I'm like, what? She at no point was just like, what the fuck is all this?
I actually kind of like that idea for geniuses not actually being that socially acute and being like kind of awkward and not really smart when it comes to interacting with people, and how reading people is difficult for people that are like book smart and technically geniuses.
Well, it's not that
But
though. It's not like socially. It's more like, is this a good decision to make?
Correct. And like not thinking about that overall. But again, the way that the show executes it is her acting smarter than pretty much everybody else in the room and still making bad
No,
calls.
I agree with you. This is why I think someone like Reed in the comics is so compelling in the Fantastic Four, where you're like, you're the smartest man in the world, but when it comes to raising a family or being a
Like
good
you can't talk
husband,
to your wife.
you can't even talk to your wife. And I think that that's so interesting when we see it in a Tony, when we see it in a Bruce. But here, I'm just like, wait, like Riri is smart, but she's making decisions where I'm like, if she grew up in Chicago, if she's a Black woman in this world, she would be a lot more savvy than to just be like, yup, I'm going along with all of these fucking criminals who seem like fucking just like the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet.
My favorite part was when episode 3, she's like, I'm not a criminal.
Oh yeah.
And then by the end of it, she's a murderer.
That made no sense to me.
Does
I was
Marvel
confused.
does the MCU have a kid genius problem?
Yes.
Name your favorite Marvel kid genius that's not annoying.
Moon Girl.
No, I'm not talking about like.
Ooh,
in
Moon Girl
the-
is a good call.
Moon Girl's great. I'm not talking about in the comics. I'm talking about on screen. Does Marvel have?
Peter's not a genius in the MCU, so we can't.
Not really, no.
He's a genius.
Not in the MCU.
I mean, he's
He's
probably
smart.
genius. He's probably
He's probably a genius.
he's probably a genius.
If you can make the web
What-
shooters,
what-
I'd call you a
no,
genius.
What has he done in any of the movies? Like, I feel like they dumbed the MCU Peter down.
A little bit, but he's still a genius. He made his web shooters. That's a
Right.
genius.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
Like he made his web shooters, and also in.
I mean, he's been in No Way Home. He like beats Doctor Strange with math.
Yeah.
All right, that was the most bullshit thing ever.
Right, but
Nah,
you-
but
I
like
mean,
he did it.
If
All
you're
right,
saying
I
he's
get
not a
it.
genius, yeah.
But then and then in the one right before then, isn't he the one that figures out the whole Edith thing? He rebuilds this. What does he do at the end?
Oh yeah, he restructures
Okay,
the
this-
AI in
So I would
inside
say,
Tony's
I would
glasses.
say
Yeah.
Peter is
He's a genius.
He's a
not that
genius.
annoying.
He's annoying.
Kind of.
He's
He's
definitely
annoying.
annoying.
He's
Definitely
he's
annoying.
He can be annoying.
He's not.
As annoying.
He's not
As
plucky.
annoying.
He's not plucky annoying.
He's plucky as
There's a
Pete-
whole.
Pete,
If
like,
I
this
could
is
watch an entire
absolutely
movie
plucky.
of you, and not want to shut it off. To me, that doesn't like. I could not, in this incarnation of a character, I could not watch an entire movie of Riri at this point of how it's being played. I would say also Shuri before Wakanda Forever wasn't that annoying.
Nah, she wasn't that annoying. She was actually super fucking awesome and cool, which is how I know that they can do it. Right. She knew she was the smartest person in the room, and she had fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you did your best.
Like,
that great line from Infinity War.
Oh, great. Another broken white boy for me to fix.
Great.
Like she knew that she was the smartest person in the room. She was cool. She used it humorously. And I just felt like I'm watching a genius. Like when I'm watching Riri, I'm watching a genius who is resorting to all of these things to get her genius out into the world. But her reason for wanting to do it is like super duper fucking selfish. It's like, I want to build something iconic. I just want to build this suit. I want to build something iconic. It would be, if there was, and we might, we're 3 episodes in.
Right.
So we have not seen the entire season, okay? We're 3 episodes in. We might be getting to the point to where we understand what makes Riri, like what gets her out of that twin bed in the morning. You know, like Tony asked Peter, we might be getting to the point where we understand that. But right now, for the amount of stuff that she's doing, even her motivations to me don't seem believable, authentic, relatable. I haven't quite grown into the character yet.
People might kill me for saying this, but to me, when she's talking, you brought up a line that I kind of cringed against, where she's just like, I want to do something iconic. It felt very much like someone writing like hashtag Black Girl Magic. When I talk to like my Black nieces and nephews and shit, they're not being like, I want to do something iconic. I want to do something iconic. Like they're talking like, oh, like I want to do something to get out of my situation, out of this neighborhood, out of this state, out of this, like their problems are very small. And even if they're like, yeah, they might want to be the next Beyonce, they're not. To me, the thing that made Riri so human, especially as like, a young Black character, is I'm just like, oh, she had this traumatic thing happen to her. She's this genius. Her loved ones were gunned down by a drive-by. And the thing she's doing now with her life is creating the biggest, baddest weapon. That to me, I'm like, oh, there's a kernel in this show where it's like, even Ezekiel Stan is just like, yo, you could do all this amazing shit, and you decided just to build a fucking another Iron Man suit. And I thought it was a good scene where she's just like, yo, that's all the world fucking cares about. I'm like, oh no, that's a really interesting motivation, because I see that in a lot of Black children where they're just like, well, if this is what the world is going to reward, I want to do that. And I'm just like, that to me is, I'm like, a girl being like, I want to do something iconic. I'm just like, yeah, that's like a nice poster, but that doesn't feel very real to me. Someone being like, oh, I want to build a big suit of like a weapon, the biggest weapon ever, because my loved ones got taken away from me and no one cares enough about it. I'm like, I can feel that.
Now, we should say 3 episodes in, it's likely and very plausible that Riri will learn and grow,
yes,
and have a different reason as to why she becomes Ironheart than she is expressing now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably your show. Now, I think you guys can tell by the conversation that we weren't super into the first 3 episodes of Ironheart.
No.
What did work?
Tough.
Because we have the Hood as our villain.
Oh, the Hood is terrible.
The Hood's not looking great.
I liked the Hood.
So
the Little Red Riding Hood,
no.
It's so
the Hood itself
looks terrible.
Kind of crazy, but
yeah, that looks
Anthony
nuts.
Ramos is in a completely different show.
I liked Anthony Ramos as a villain.
I did not.
He's in a completely different show because everyone else, like, not to, again, we don't want to, be disrespectful, but everybody else is, keeping it tame. They're doing their thing. It's not like over the top. It's like, regular, at least on screen. Anthony Ramos is like, hey man, I got to do this for this and this. It's like there's a scene where he's talking to Riri and the camera is like zooming in on him as he's talking.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be like very serious and very like
Sinister and
and I'm laughing in my house, bro.
Yeah.
Like and it's I don't you don't like it. I don't think it's his fault. I just think like he's doing a performance that's for a different version of the show.
What he's doing is he thinks he's doing something different than what the show is giving.
To be clear,
Right.
I'm going to be nice. I actually don't think that any of these actors in a vacuum are bad. Or
course
even
not.
like, I think
Of
a
course
lot
not.
to your point, like, I think you brought it a good point. I'm like, the way they're writing The Hood, Anthony Ramos is probably doing a performance that is on the page,
Mhm.
but the way The Hood is written, he is not in the same show as Riri.
No.
Like
He is not.
everybody,
No.
like even the whole like, I'm sorry, but the Hood's team sucks. Like I'm like the whole like, oh, we got the hacker, we got the arsonist. I'm just like these characters suck. This is
We got
just
the
like,
punching twins. We got the
Punching twins.
we were wasting Eric Andre as a nation.
Wasting,
We are.
bro.
Nah, Eric Andre took that check.
Yo,
No,
Rank it up.
They sliced
I love the Eric Andre show.
They slimed
Eric Andre is
a
a
great show. They slimed him out. He was in what 2 scenes? He messed up the beginning. It was like, yeah, I'm Rampage. Episode 3, it's like, we actually he's
Do you
good.
think that this was supposed to be like 8 episodes and we actually had a lot more Eric? Because
They
I thought,
had to.
oh man, I was like,
Yeah. You don't cast Eric Andre for 2 scenes and
Just
then
to be
slide
like,
him out
oh, God.
off camera.
No,
I
No.
literally was just like,
No.
oh, there was like an episode or 2 in here where he was actually like doing some shit, and then it was supposed to be a surprise. Oh, they killed him, and they was just like, yeah, we offed him off screen.
I also need him to be like, chugging milk on the subway and then being like, Riri, help me.
I wanted to see Kraft Punk.
Kraft Punk. I love Kraft Punk.
Get out of here, Kraft Punk.
Where's Hannibal Buress?
I'm Kraft
man?
Punk.
You
I'm
know?
Kraft Punk.
You think Hannibal Buress was in Homecoming? You think him and Eric Andre
Oh, shit.
Rampage ever linked up?
Maybe.
They're on Discord. I love that it was his Discord name, though.
Rampage dead.
Dead as hell.
So
The
these
Hood
are
does not work. I
Huh?
will say
No, the Hood doesn't.
I
work.
think the hood works.
I think
I think the hood works. Let me tell you why. I think there's a seriousness to the character, but I think Ramos plays the character with a little bit like somebody that sold their soul. I mean, and
Yeah.
literally we know that he sold his soul, but someone who is a little bit detached. He plays it as a villain that I could see actually being something formidable over the next 3 episodes.
And also, it's like, because again, he's doing this serious thing. I think the show wants us to feel like, oh, this whole thing is serious. This whole thing has this weight, this gravitas to it. But when we watch the scenes with Anthony Ramos, we're like, all right, we're not serious. We're not taking this seriously. So when he shows up and he's doing this whole dark brooding thing, we're like, yeah, all right, bro.
I mean,
you got
to
it.
be honest with you, some of the best scenes in the 3rd episode when his former partner is coming to him as a deceased manifestation of him, probably through Mephisto.
Mm.
Like you see what the movie, or excuse me, what the show could really be, which is this technological genius against this mystical opponent, which
Yes.
would be
Cool.
very cool.
Yeah, that would be
Which would be very interesting.
Do you think that
if
this
they
is
can
also
get there in the
a
last 3
directing
episodes?
cinematography tone thing where it's like to your point, I'm just like, oh, it's super interesting for this young Black woman who's a genius and is just like believes in science to have to go up against the literal devil and magic and have to like, to me, that's cool. But I'm just like, when you're breaking down who's going to direct it, what the cinematography is going to be like, what the tone is, I'm just like, that's not the tone that you're telling me. When
Yeah.
they're shooting Anthony Ramos and Joe or Anthony Ramos in and Riri, I'm like, why does this look like a Tubi movie? Like, why?
I'm not gonna lie though. If we end up going to hell and Riri Williams becomes the Doomslayer, I'll probably take back everything bad I ever said about the show.
no.
And
Yeah.
she's
Hell
just
no.
fighting demons.
Look, here's the deal. We're talking about Ironheart right now. And we should name it on the heels of the conversation that we had, particularly the way I addressed the conversation last week. There are some people that might be confused about how critical we're being of the show, or more to the point, I'm being of the show. I want to reiterate my point. We don't owe it to any piece of content or show anywhere to like it. We do owe it to support it.
Mhm.
Here on this particular show, we have different sensibilities. We all have different ways. Some of us are more positive about things. Some of us are more negative about them. more critical or more accepting, I should say. But we all try to be honest about the way we feel about stuff. And the first 3 episodes of Ironheart were very good. And that's a shame.
Yeah.
But we should also say that there have been other characters in the history of the MCU that haven't just had bad shows, they've had bad movies.
Yeah.
I would say the first 2 Thor movies, I enjoyed the first Thor movie, but that movie is basically, okay, here's Thor. Like, there's not much to the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, that movie is, here's Thor. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, because it's not. But that movie is, here's Thor's on screen. Then the second movie is Thor: The Dark World, which I don't think is as bad a movie as everybody else thinks it is. I think there's some really interesting things in Thor: The Dark World. However, people don't like it, and you started to wonder if they could make a good Thor movie.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. You could make an argument that Thor's 1 for 4. You can make an argument as a solo on-screen movie character for Thor movies. You could make an argument that Thor's 1 for 4, right? You can make an argument. The first Captain America movie was a movie that I liked, but a movie that not a lot of people. So all I'm saying is, and we've said this before, there are times before where it took Marvel a little while to find their character. It didn't happen with Doctor Strange. They knew him from the beginning. It didn't happen with Black Panther. They knew him from the beginning. You could argue about Captain Marvel, but there are characters where it took them a second to find the character and get the character to a point where they could tell compelling stories around that character on screen. So it wouldn't be the first time. On Disney Plus, it has barely worked.
Right.
So
I guess my thing is just like, I agree with you in terms of just like, we need to support these things. But I think on the other hand, my issue is that Black people, and especially like Black women, especially as heroes, do not get these opportunities. No. And usually these opportunities end up hurting careers. And I just wonder with something like Ironheart, did you need to you need to give this more love and more attention, just because, especially if you're in an organization that I think has more Black people and women of color, and it's more integral to your plans. I think you look at something like this where it's like, this has to work. Like, even with Wakanda Forever, you could tell, like, different circumstances where they're like, even without Chadwick, we need to make sure that this film works. And I think Ironheart needed the same care.
I guess I understand what you're saying, but I guess we say that a lot. Like, the people that made this were Black, and I think that they did their best.
Yes. I'm not saying that they didn't. I'm more so saying, do you think that there were any conversations once they saw what happened with Miss Marvel or the Marvels or She-Hulk or Moon Knight or Echo, where anyone was just like, damn, are we just leading another series made by women of color out to slaughter? Because now you have, if you think about it, what's the last successful Marvel product that was either Black-led or led by a woman?
Successful by what metric?
Commercially, critically?
Captain Marvel came out in 2019. That made $1 billion.
Well, I mean,
Wakanda
you're talking
Forever?
about Black-led, you're talking about Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, and then what's Wakanda Forever?
And we've gotten a lot since, and I'm just like, I'm wondering where I'm like, yo, how many times are we going to keep saying the same thing? Where it's like, there's things to like about.
But pull back, though. Like, pull back.
Or, literally be like, how do we make this succeed?
No, what I mean is, when I say pull back, I mean, what has been successful, period. Like, Multiverse of Madness failed. I mean, when I say failed, let's make sure. Some of these movies were commercially successful. But if we're talking about movies where we were like, yeah, that was good, like, we fucked with it, Multiverse of Madness didn't quite get there. Thor, these are legacy characters. Thor's an OG offender. He might be an OG offender. He didn't quite get there. If obviously the Marvels, if you're talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, that worked. But other than that, you're looking at a lot of characters that have had Ant-Man, Quantumania
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
didn't quite get there, right? The only you could make an argument that even though it was a runaway success, and I think people need to understand just what kind of success Deadpool and Wolverine was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a runaway success. A lot of people, even people here, didn't think the movie was very good.
But can I say this? The reason why I think...
And you don't get whiter or maler than that movie.
Yeah, no, but I think my issue is that if a Doctor Strange movie underperforms, a Thor movie underperforms, a lot of these, the likelihood that they're going to get another at-bat is really, really high. Just because historically, racially, the way Hollywood works, a white male superhero director, all these, they get other at-bats. What are the chances that we're going to see an Echo or a She-Hulk or an Ironheart get another season of TV or lead their own movie?
The Acolyte.
Or Acolyte. Like, like, usually when these things fail, they're just like Nia DaCosta, basically. They fucking push her out the plane.
But
like,
what I'm telling you, though, is I get what you're saying, and you're obviously right. The contagion, though, in my opinion, is not in the product, it's in the process.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the contagion is not specifically with anyone making Ironheart or the Marvels or anything else to where they're like, yo, we have to make sure that we succeed. Because everybody that sat down in those seats to write and produce those shows was like, we have to make sure that we succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The contagion is obviously now in the process. It's in what, like, they can't get the Blade movie made. And it's not because Blade is black. It's because there is something wrong over there.
There's something wrong that they're trying to fix in the foundation of this thing where it's like, that is actually a really, really good point. And I want to be really, really clear. Like, so many talented people worked on this series. I don't want to like shit on this. Like, it's not unwatchable. And I don't even think that this is the worst thing that's ever been put on Disney Plus. We've watched worse shows. I just think I'm getting tired of like coming in here and being like, damn, there's a part of me that wants to support these series and support my sisters and wants them to have more at-bats. And then there's also the other thing of like, y'all couldn't have watched this. And I'm talking about the people who have been at Marvel for a while, the producers, the Feige levels, the people who have been there, the Parliament. Somebody got to step in at some point and be like, yo, we're actually doing more harm. We're doing more harm.
I want you guys to jump in, but I gotta say this real quick. But see, you're at cross purposes with yourself. And this is what I was trying to say right now. It feels like it. Let me put it to you. It feels like it. Because, yeah, Zack Snyder gonna make some shit and people gonna go see it, right? And it doesn't matter if Zack Snyder is 1 for 5, Zack Snyder is 2 for 5. I mean, he made the zombie joint that was in Vegas.
Army of the Dead.
That was pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then he made like 3 Rebel Moons.
I know,
Nobody liked that.
but what I'm saying,
Nobody watched Rebel Moon.
I know. Nah, I tried to watch that shit.
You tried.
You tried.
Tried is the operative word.
Rebel Moon fucking sucked.
It was terrible.
And I like
terrible.
and god damn it, it looked great.
Did the second movie ever come out?
It
did.
Yeah,
it did.
Rebel
I didn't watch it.
Moon was fucking stupid.
What
The
was
zombie
it?
one was
Wait,
good though.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Zombie was alright.
While we're talking about bad sci-fi movies that
But let
nobody
me
likes.
just let me land it real quick. 30 seconds. What I'm saying is, like, those guys get more chances because the studios have faith that we're gonna go back out and watch the next thing they do. Because it might be Dawn of the Dead. It might be 300.
Mhm.
It might be Man of Steel.
Mm.
It might be this. Like, I think we turn the page too quickly on Black creatives, even us, because sometimes we are insulted by the portrayals that we get on screen, or we're insulted that they fucked the character up.
Yeah.
So we take that personally. And the real thing we gotta do is we gotta get our shit back up.
Yeah.
And we gotta go see Queen and Slim too.
We
We gotta get back up. We gotta get back up, and we gotta go see Queen and Slim 2.
Nah,
Queen.
dog.
Nah.
Too slim.
That's what we gotta do. I'm
Queen
telling
and
you,
Slim Electric Boogaloo.
Queen and Slim Electric Boogaloo, like
Was
Queen and
that,
Slim.
no, I'll see one of these days or what? What's the Kiki Palmer
One of them
joint?
days?
That shit was
Yeah.
good. Though.
I'll see
That
a
was
second
good.
one of those.
Yeah.
So
Because he did it, but here's the thing. I'll see a second one of those because I'm just like, okay, even if I have issues with this and that third, I'm just like, oh, at the end of it, I'm just like, I'd like to see more.
It didn't offend your sensibilities.
Yeah,
Sure.
like I was just like, okay, there's something to glom onto.
I know, but black people have to be able to offend black people and still have the shit. It's like Jay-Z dropped Kingdom Come, and I was like, nah, man, nah.
Right.
And now y'all trying to redo Kingdom Come, and I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna sound like an old nigga.
Man, it's
Kingdom Come is still not a great album, but it sounds like fucking it was written or Illmatic compared to the shit that y'all putting out today. I'm sorry. Fuck that
Just
shit.
in
But
general?
also, if we turned our back on Jay-Z,
like,
then he wouldn't have made 444.
that's what I'm saying. But like,
All right,
it's
we gotta
Jay-Z.
stop with 444.
444 is crazy. I don't want to hear what
Yeah,
you
444 is
444
good.
is crazy. Even if Rock Nation controls the weather, which they probably do at this point.
That's a good
Like,
conspiracy.
like 444 is fucking amazing. But I'll say this: it's like we gotta go back. I feel like sometimes, well, once again, I feel like sometimes we have an even shorter leash than the population.
Whoa,
at
so,
large.
so you're telling me I have to
Shorter
do it
leash.
because it's my
Shorter
job.
whip.
I have to do
What?
it because it's my job. Be real. If this wasn't our job, would you be like, damn, I'm ready to just like hop back in, watch 3 more episodes of Ironheart? I would be out after the first. I'd be like,
Sure,
nah,
but
We
like,
know
can there not
you'd
be
be
a-
out. You've done it before.
Yeah,
I would
but like,
finish
can
it,
there
yeah.
be a middle ground in good faith where we can be like, hey, we didn't rock with this, but in good faith and in the like actual conscious discussion that we had last week, where we're like, we should be supporting these things, encourage everybody watching to still watch Ironheart, because even if a couple of people rock with it, then they get something out
all
of
I
it.
Play-
got
can
is
you
all
play the
I
drums
got
real
is
quick?
what I recommend to people, and I couldn't.
Nah,
I
you
can't
gotta-
recommend this to people.
So let me tell you something. I'll come clean about something. I'll make just to give you guys an understanding of where I'm coming from.
Okay.
So Straight Outta Compton is not a good movie.
Okay.
Entertaining though,
It was entertaining. It was cool to watch.
cool to watch, not a good movie.
Right.
Like, it was cool to watch. Oh, it's NWA. Oh, my the guys I know in this, I wouldn't say my friends. I'll say Aldous is my friend. He wasn't like we weren't as close then, but I fuck with the fact that movie gave us O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Mhm.
and some of the others. It's worth it. That movie was worth it.
Right.
But the movie was a masturbatory project by Cube and Dre. Not as much Cube, because the Cube shit was dealt with, more so Dre, to sandwash and whitewash the history of NWA. And if they made a real NWA movie, to me, these are the guys that are in NWA, so take what I say with a grain of salt. The movie would have been as dangerous as NWA was, and they were one of the most dangerous, destabilizing, necessary cultural forces in American pop culture in the late 80s and early 90s. But the movie wasn't none of that.
Right.
Despite the fact that it had a great performance by Jason, had a great performance by O'Shea Jack. There was stuff to like about the movie, but I did not enjoy. I thought the movie wasn't that great of a movie. And I got on TMZ on TV and I lied about it. So, oh, it's great. It's fantastic. It's amazing. Because I wanted people to run out and go see the film because I want NWA to get their flowers. I want all of this. But as the years have gone on, I thought, well, we don't get the real Dre at that time in that movie. There are things that are very important for us to discuss that we didn't get. We didn't get, to me, the story of NWA that really shook people up and would have fucked up the whole culture. And there was a movie there that should have been made that wasn't made.
Yeah.
And I can say that now. And I can say that I probably wasn't in a place to be like, man, that shit was just okay in a room full of white people at TMZ. I just wasn't going to do that. Right. Now, I feel more inclined to be honest about projects like this that we get, that we might not like. But I also feel double and triple the need to support them. Like double and triple the need to be like, I'm finishing Ironheart, and guess what? If they were to do Ironheart 2, I'm showing up with an Ironheart shirt and the hat and the whole deal. Now,
Get a jersey.
you might not get Ironheart season 3 out of me if you don't fix
Right,
the show.
if you don't fix it
in season 2.
Everybody gets 2.
Right.
But, and look, we have 3 more episodes to go. Maybe this shit comes back like Jesus on that Sunday.
Man, what if Zeke Stain is just that guy? You know what I'm saying? What if Han Solo's
Like that, like
You're
I'm
just
in.
you're a better You're a better ally. You're a better consumer than me. You don't get.
You watch all of the weeb shit. You won't like.
Whoa. I abandoned more shit than y'all like shit where I'm just like, this is fucking.
You can abandon anime though. Like that's part of the culture. You watch like you have
here's the thing.
the 3-episode rule.
Right.
Is a thing. You watch the episodes.
And I think if we're doing the 3-episode rule, because this would be good for like most Disney Plus shows and most things we cover. I don't think most things we cover
past the
3-episode rule. You know what I'm saying?
So Rob from Comics Explained loves Ironheart.
Good for Rob.
Good.
Happy for Rob.
Rob says, yeah, I finished Ironheart episode 3. The show is great. I wish Marvel had more confidence in advertising it. And the first one was like, the first comment was, it was so bad I walked out of my living room after episode 3. The second one is,
walked out of the living room is a funny, that's all right. That's all doing a lot, but okay.
I mean, yeah, but like that's I would agree with you, Van. Like I would still encourage people to see it because again, there could be a chance that you like it, and even so, like we're supporting the people that we.
You should definitely watch the show because you got to form your own opinion.
Yeah,
well, the show,
don't outsource your critical thinking to us.
The show looks great. Y'all
it
think
does.
the show looks great?
I think it does look great.
What?
It's emulating like a sort of like 70s like golden hue like film grainy quality that I actually liked.
The beautiful black characters on the screen. Come on, Charles. Let's get. We've been negative, and I've been with you. Let's get a kernel of positivity.
I do like
we
the title
cards
every
positive.
time.
You know what? Instead of Disney Plus wasting 8 hours of my time, it's only 6.
Damn, it's crazy. Let me tell you something. We're gonna do. We want to be sponsored here by Orville Redenbacher.
Oh,
we want to. We're asking for it. We're asking for it. We're gonna do
an audition for
Kernel of Positivity.
Ooh.
Kernel.
Oh, wow.
Charles Holmes is Kernel of Positivity.
I gave you one. It's only 6 episodes.
That don't count.
How's that not count?
That don't count.
At least like, damn, we're not gonna piss him off for 8 weeks.
That's not.
No, it's not 8 weeks. It's only 2.
It's
only 2. You can make it to 2.
Only 2.
So I've been with you. I did not enjoy the show that much. There were times where I was watching it where I was, you know how I know when a show I'm not fucking with a show to where I'm like, I fuck around with the fast forward button a little.
Do you do it like a little 2x?
I didn't do it, but I'm like
1.5x speed.
I want to get. What I thought is these are my positive takes from the show.
Okay.
I think the show looks great. I think the hood really works. I'm not even gonna talk about the lead actress because I already know she can do this.
Yes,
I saw her in Wakanda Forever. I think that's a star in the making.
I think there's a script issues. I don't think that this is she doesn't have to do
I
that.
already know she could do it. Like, I already know she could do it. That's a star in the making. I've seen her. She pops on screen. She's great. I truly love her. Truly love her. But I think the show looks great. I think some of the action scenes have a dynamic quality to them to where I can see what they're doing. And I am at least curious to see where the show is going to go in the next 3 episodes, particularly with the way that it ended, with the fact that, we have now a death. We have the hood seemingly, and we have the hood seemingly like getting closer to, we know it's Mephisto, or we think it's Mephisto. We see all of these things happening. It's Mephisto, guys.
I know, could you imagine that this is where
that's
Mephisto comes?
It's like the Mephisto thing's been, and maybe it's us. Maybe it's our fault. Maybe we did the, it's got to be Mephisto this time. Oh, it's got to be him this time. It's got to be him this time.
We grew up watching Too Close to the Sun.
He didn't show up in Loki. He didn't show up in WandaVision. He didn't show up in Doctor
Strange, Agatha.
Multiverse of Madness. Didn't show up in Agatha. But to show up in Ironheart, we need to have a conversation about who's making them choices up there. Because, like, why would you have him in this? Like, I get, like, the
so that you
science versus... I guess, but through 3 episodes, again, if we're thinking about, like, why would I would have to find out next week when I go on Twitter at 8 o'clock, whatever, and people go, oh, Mephisto's going crazy.
They want you to see it. They want to take Mephisto and put Mephisto in something that people might not have otherwise checked out. They want
instead of in something that makes sense for him to be in, makes more sense for him to be in.
Well, I mean, makes more sense, makes less sense. The story makes sense once it's told, and you guys will be the judge of that, right?
Right.
Sure.
But they have Agatha. She already had a hit. Like she was a thing that people wanted to see, except for Charles. And so they go, we can put Mephisto in this
Right.
and give a little bit more weight to this. If I was them, I would have put Doom in this bitch. Like,
Wow. I will say if I'm being positive, you know, this is gonna sound crazy to say, but I like the fact that like when the credits were rolling, I could be like, all right, black women wrote this shit, created this shit, the people on screen, getting to see just like this amount of black actors like in the MCU trying to make it work. It doesn't work. But I'm like, how many fucking times do we see the same type of faces in this shit? And it's just like there are like cute moments in this and there's cool moments, but it was a thing where I'm just like, hey, yo, at least they got to try. Like, and that's a positive where I could be like, I was like, even though it wasn't my speed, I was just like, all right, shit. Like we got people who are really trying to make this work and figure out how to do a superhero story in this way.
So your favorite part of Ironheart was when the credits rolled.
Yeah.
Tough.
No, but like I am being serious.
That's a
Grim.
I was seeing the names on it, and
grim.
I was just like, "Oh shit!" Like, yeah, they try. Like, people like it tried. When usually when I see the names after, I'm like, "This is a white person. This is a white man. This is a white man." I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, they had a very diverse writers' room, directors, and everybody who's like, I could tell that there was a lot of love. Here's the thing: have you ever like gone over into like one of your aunt's house that maybe can't cook? And you could tell she put a lot of love in it.
I gotta tell a story. I'm sorry.
All right.
I gotta tell a story. So we have one aunt.
Right.
Did I tell you this story before?
You might have.
The jambalaya?
Yeah, but
yeah.
People haven't
so
heard.
we have one aunt that she can't cook.
Right.
Now I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's gonna hurt. But the people on my mama's side of the family just fucking wash the people on my daddy's side of the family in cooking. I love the people on my daddy's side of the family. I love them. I love the Lathans. But my mama and them, they just washing them. They washing them in cooking. It's not even fucking close. They washing them. But some time ago, my great-grandfather died, Big Papa. He was the patriarch of the family. And I heard my uncles making fun of one of my aunts' jambalaya.
No.
And he was like, man, you know, you're gonna have to eat that dry ass jambalaya. And the joke, and this is like, the joke was kind of like, now, jambalaya is a drier, it's like,
right.
You can make a wet jambalaya, you can make a drier jambalaya, but it's not supposed to be super dry.
Right, yeah.
You need the
rice has got to be a little.
Well, you need the stuff to you need it to come. I used that jambalaya before. Yeah, you need
a little toothsome.
The thing, it needs to come together.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man, you know, Papa died, and on top of it, we got to eat some dry ass jambalaya. So I hear them talking, and so I, as a little kid,
how old are you?
7.
Okay.
6. Papa died 86, 87, was something like that.
Mm-hmm.
6, 7. So I go, man, here come that dry ass jambalaya. and they bust out and start laughing. Right? The uncles and stuff like that. And my dad pulled me to the side. And he goes, hey, that woman love you. Okay? And she put every ounce of love she had in that dry ass jambalaya. So don't do that. That's man talk. And what you gonna learn is we talk a whole lot of talk when it's just us, that we don't talk when other people are around because we realize that we can hurt people's feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's like, you don't want to hurt her feelings. You don't want to hurt nobody else's feelings. So you got to eat the dry ass jambalaya sometimes. And that story did 2 things. One, it gave me an eating disorder because I would
just eat everything that you're given.
Somebody put in front of me. Like
eat everything that you're given.
You know what I'm saying? You
good or bad, whatever.
I was family somewhere. Well, what it told me is if you don't finish your plate, then that means you don't love someone.
Right.
And so that was crazy. But it also told me that love, cultural love or love period, is not eating stuff when it tastes good. It's sometimes eating it and going, yeah, you got some ketchup? Because I would put a little ketchup in a jambalaya. Now I don't put ketchup in jambalaya. I don't put ketchup in jambalaya. That's very white. But for hers, you had to put a little. I put like a little ketchup in it, and add some hot sauce, and then you eat it, and it's cool. Right?
Right.
Like
this is the perfect metaphor for Ironheart. You said it better than I, because sometimes I felt like Ironheart, I'm like, oh, if Black Panther is the mom side of the family with the good cooking, like it feels like Ironheart's the dad side where you like, I know there was a lot of love in this. And I feel even bad putting this on the podcast because this sometimes
we gotta keep it gangster, y'all. And everybody gonna be mad, but we gotta keep it real.
Like, but here's the thing. I can tell, that's my last thing on Ironheart. I'm like, I could tell that there was a lot of love put into this jambalaya. Is it dry as shit? Yes. Does it need a lot of hot sauce and ketchup? Yes. But sometimes the love is what matters.
We ate Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
We ate Multiverse of Madness. That's not that
That's
bad.
crazy.
It's not that bad.
We
ate Love and Thunder.
We ate
Love and Thunder.
We ate Moon Knight and thought it was good. We thought that shit
guys.
Not me.
We ate Secret Invasion.
Yeah,
we ate
bro.
Secret Invasion. We could eat it.
We could eat it. Yeah, at that point, man. You might
Let's
as
be
well.
honest. Even Secret Invasion, we had to be like, "Hey, yo, we might."
Listen,
hey,
we are far afield from the little Drax arm.
Man.
Yo,
the Drax arm
I
was
want to go back to like what didn't work. Y'all, Secret Invasion is crazy, dog.
I'll say this. Ironheart
we are
is
not there.
Secret
We are
Invasion.
not there.
It is better than Secret Invasion.
Than Secret Invasion. We could do a list of shows that Ironheart is better than.
Oh yeah,
Marvel
look at us,
TV
the
wears
positivity
it.
boys.
So Marvel TV, I would say Loki season 1 is number 1.
I disagree.
You like WandaVision?
WandaVision is
He
better.
likes
than
WandaVision. That's a respectable
But we'll
choice.
WandaVision.
We could tie.
We got WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki.
You know what? Let's not do this until we've seen the last 3 episodes of the show.
Yeah.
Let's not do this.
I would say Ironheart to me is not at the bottom. Well, it's near the bottom, but it is not the worst thing I've ever seen.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'm looking at this list, man. Oh no, we was fighting for our lives, bro. I mean, you more specifically.
Charles was fighting for his life.
You more specifically, but
we will see what happens with the last 3 episodes of Ironheart. We will see what happens. And we will walk into these episodes giving them the chance. I wasn't
heads held high.
Heads held high.
Man, there was
there
was a Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Secret Invasion stretch.
I enjoyed She-Hulk. I'm not gonna.
I like She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
I like She-Hulk.
Ass cheeks, bro.
But they're like just like Miss Marvel. There was a little like all right.
Yeah. And before anybody
judged
says
Falcon Winter Soldier
this was Saji, you can go check the tape. I've hated all these shit.
That's true. That's on brand.
Like, it don't matter who was in them. I was just like, this shit ain't in.
Didn't like it.
Fantastic Four?
Yeah, nerd news.
All right, guys, it's time for nerd news. We have our final trailer for Fantastic Four. The Thing has a beard. We get to hear a little bit more from Silver Surfer, from our Ozark. What's
Julie Gardner?
Yeah, from Ozark. We saw a little bit more Galactus. Van, instant reactions to the final trailer.
I'm on it.
Hopping on it?
Whoa.
Bouncing on it?
Riding it? You riding it?
This is me. This is the horse. I'm on the Fantastic Four, man.
Yeah.
I think
doing splits on it.
They got it?
I think we got something coming, baby.
Yeah, jumping on it.
I'll be on it all night.
I'll be on it all day.
I'll be on it.
I think Fantastic Four is going to work.
So, and I mean, we've talked about a lot of the trailers. I've seen a lot of the trailers. And first things first, too many trailers. It's enough. Enough is enough.
Well, they don't have faith in y'all. Y'all like
they need it.
I get it.
Y'all can get a making of vignette, like y'all can get an Imagine video, like
they gonna have Pedro Pascal brushing his teeth.
You're gonna get a special presentation on Disney Plus.
I just don't understand, like, brother, it's Fantastic Four. Again, maybe because it's me.
Thunderbolts worked, and y'all didn't go see it. They have no faith in y'all.
They don't. Because this is what they were like, trailer 4. It's like, brother, man, you just let me show me one time, I'm good.
Motherfuckers made a whole fucking movie about the D team, and you're like, nobody saw it. I'm like, yeah,
I agree.
It was good.
But what I'm saying is that spooked them. That's all.
Clearly. But watching all those trailers, and we're kind of like, what are the sense of Fantastic Four? How, like, is there something, like, at least for me personally, that I connect to that makes me feel like I'm gonna know this movie, that I'm excited for this movie. And early in this trailer, Johnny does the 4 with the fire and flies off, and I'm like, I'm here. Yeah, you finally.
Is it
Like, I was always gonna watch the movie, but I didn't know how I might feel about it.
Right.
When he does the thing and he yells "woo" and he flies off, I'm like, this is it right here, man.
Right.
They understand like a certain part of this character, certain part of this story that, like, while maybe corny, maybe while like silly, it's like Batman hanging over like a gargoyle looking out in the city. You can see it all the time, but when you see it and you can know, like, oh man, they're kind of cooking with that one.
Mhm.
That's how I felt seeing that. And I was like,
Do y'all ever
the first
think,
time I felt positive, felt like this movie's gonna mean something.
do y'all ever think that Batman has been perched on one of those things and there's been like a guy like cleaning up or working at his desk and, you know, he's working in there, he's working ladies on his, and he looks outside the window and he goes, oh shit,
That Bruce Wayne?
is that fucking Batman? Like just perching out there looking over the city?
Yeah.
And, you know, he's looking out of his window and Batman is perched
On like
looking-
a gargoyle or something.
or something looking out over the city and this guy is looking
Mm-hmm.
from his desk and he's like, what is he doing?
Well, how late is this guy working? Because
I
Batman
mean,
comes out
it
at
could
night.
be.
Law offices go
I know,
late,
you know,
true.
like my brother Jabril used to hit me from his law office when he was essentially a law slave, and it would be like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, they were
like
crazy
3 o'clock
hours.
in the morning, New York time, because they had a car that would take them back and forth whenever they needed to go. So he'd be working really, really late on all kinds of different things. And I'm just wondering if people see Batman and they wonder, you know, is Batman tweaking? Like, because like Batman is sitting out there looking over the city.
It's raining.
It's raining.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The guy's like, he could fall.
I mean, but what I always think is like, because sometimes in the comics, it happens with Spider-Man, Batman, especially, where they'll start getting freaky on the tower with Catwoman or Black Cat. And sometimes I'm like, you ever think there's just somebody in the like next film be like, damn, Batman getting his dick sucked at 3 a.m. Like what? No, I was
That
like,
never
damn.
happened.
I don't think...
That reminds me of a
I
story
don't
when
think
I was in
about
the
that.
dorms.
I gotta be honest with you. I've
See,
never
why-
thought about
you
that
know
once.
what?
That's an original thought.
Charles, if it wasn't for me, you would be me.
If it wasn't for me, you would be me. That's great. That's
No,
a
I'm
very
telling
good
you,
compliment.
like on the freak shit, because Charles comes up with a lot of this stuff, and you got to get back to Fantastic Four. But if it wasn't for me, it would be you that they
It
would
would
talk
be
about.
you.
I'm just letting you know. I'm just because I was just thinking about a guy looking at Batman, and now Batman
and he's
getting a
brooding
blowjob.
back at the city.
Whoa,
and
whoa. Every single time Catwoman is in a Batman
They
comic,
don't
they get
fuck-
busy
they-
on the fucking roof.
They fuck on the roof.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. Same thing with Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is
Black Cat
definitely-
be tying him
yeah.
up and Bond and shit on the roof. Be
Yeah.
flirting with them and shit.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's
gotta be the highest
I
I
building
don't
for me.
remember Batman and Catwoman fucking on the roof. I guess they have though.
Yeah,
They kiss on the roof and stuff like that. But you just took it to a whole different
Well,
place.
it's just like, the camera pans
does
away.
Batman not
and then
deserve to get his dick sucked?
He does. If
I
anybody,
don't think that's
hard.
the point. I
if
don't
any-
think
if
that's the
anybody
point
does.
of the... Well, I mean, if you Batman, why would you get your dick sucked?
We got to go back.
do you
to
remember the
Fantastic
discourse
Four.
about how
Yeah.
Batman doesn't
You,
is
I'm just saying, you
DJ
got the Wayne,
Khaled?
you got the
essentially?
Wayne Manor, you got an apartment, you know what I'm saying? You don't gotta
Well, you
use
can't
the
take him to
rooftop.
Wayne Manor.
Well, I mean,
He's
well,
not taking
certainly.
Catwoman to Wayne, man.
You can't take him to Wayne Manor.
I thought she was part of the Bat family.
I mean, she might. You might be able to take her there, but you can't take.
He's taking
that would be
Talia back home.
Can you think this is hilarious? So Batman.
we will
is
talk about
getting it-
Fantastic Four.
We
promise.
will.
Batman is getting it on with a chick, and he's like, "Yeah, we gotta take you back to the house."
Why does
And
he
she's
sound
like,
like?
because that's how he talk. He's like, "Oh, we gotta take you back to the house. We gotta take you back to the house." And she's like, "Okay, cool." She gets in the fucking Batmobile.
Well, you gotta. Are you doing like the?
No,
like
no,
the,
no. He's got the mask on.
Well, no, the mask stays on during sex regardless.
Yeah,
Right.
he's got the mask on.
Yeah.
They driving, and all of a sudden they get back to Wayne Manor, and Batman, tosses the keys.
Sorry
And like-
the mess.
And, like, and she's like, "Why are we here?" So, take your clothes off.
Can you imagine? I've always
I'm not
wondered.
sure. Like, just take your clothes off.
I just
He's
think
like unzipping his pants, and she's like, "Do you have protection?" She's like,
Don't worry about it.
And he just pulls
yeah.
Is it the
He definitely
utility
got-
belt? It's in
the utility belt's
Are
got
the
everything.
condoms bat? Do they have a bat insignia on?
we
them?
gotta go. Like,
It might.
it's not
He's
great.
sponsored by Trojan.
So
He
Fantastic Four.
definitely.
It's fantastic.
Wait, can I nitpick about the trailer?
Sure.
I want to ask. This is a very nerdy question.
Go for it.
There's a scene of Johnny carrying the Thing. A lot of people are just like, "Oh, the Thing has a beard. I don't care about the Rock beard." Does Human Torch have super strength because the thing has to weigh like 2 tons.
Uh,
How can he fly around with the thing in his, just carrying the thing in his arms? The thing has to, how much does the thing weigh?
I'm pretty
Ooh,
sure
probably too much.
Johnny is strong.
Not that strong.
Canonically, I don't know how much the thing weighs.
We can find out.
I feel like all of these heroes got a little super
They
strength.
have to.
Yeah, at
He
least something.
weighs 500 pounds.
The thing?
Yeah.
According to Marvel.com, he weighs 500 pounds.
That
Okay.
makes no fucking sense.
That makes none.
Wow.
He's knocking down pillars of buildings.
Wait. The thing is what, like 6'2"?
He's
Something
going
like that?
head to head with the Hulk.
And he's pure rock.
Well,
The thing's supposed to be 6 foot 500.
to be
Well,
fair,
actually, he's not pure rock. Actually,
he
'cause
has
it's
skin
inside.
and it is
yeah,
rock
yeah,
outside
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
That's
Right,
just
so he's
why
not-
he has the beard.
He's not pure rock. Well, he has rock. Like, he has rock insides, doesn't he?
Well,
It's
that
not
was. I
humans,
think
no.
that might be a thing on the like for the 2005 Fantastic Four because they do the whole X-ray thing.
Yeah.
But remember, we had this conversation before, and there's like a graphic from the thing.
But he
and
could be knocked unconscious.
It's like,
So-
but remember, it's not like actual rock. It's leather rock-like skin.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's not actual like he's not made of.
okay, so he's
bricks.
500 pounds. That's fine.
But still, Human Torch can't fly around with 500 pounds, though.
I'm
crazy.
gonna guess that he could probably lift up a car.
What are Human Torch's attributes?
So he's got the pyrokinesis
Yeah.
and the flight, but he doesn't have super strength. That's not part of his bag.
Interesting.
But I mean, they could have just like he might just be propelling him. They might be falling,
Yeah.
and he might just be like holding him.
Because then you
using
talk
his
about
thing.
like what's the strength of his flight? Like
Right,
what is
like
the
the thrust.
torque in air? The
right,
thrust
like,
of
I mean,
in
it's
the air.
like if he had to like, he could probably generate enough thrust to get him up there. Honestly, but
What's happening? I don't understand
we're
any of
nerding
this.
out a little bit.
No.
Yeah.
So there is flight thrust that
Mhm.
helps you hold something in the air.
yeah.
Well, no,
Okay,
so
I
like,
mean,
if he's
so like
moving,
imagine here's the
think
thing.
about how rockets work. They have to take a lot of weight
Mhm.
up really quickly, right? So if you generate enough thrust, you can
You
carry.
can carry
Yeah.
anything.
So
Yeah.
like if I like
Hmm.
I'm smaller and way less than you. If I could fly, if I like just like
Damn,
took your arm,
Steve.
God,
Fucking
damn.
fat shaming.
Fat
on
bitch. God,
You're
damn.
see
Like,
how she
like,
laughing?
like,
You
that's-
saw-
that's
now you making
fucking
fun
You're a
of
much
crazy.
bigger guy than me.
Like,
That's just what I
the
said.
Wow.
Van, you're actually I want to say shout out, Van. You're looking very trim.
Thank you.
Not
You
only
been
in
in
the gym,
you see the
following
hairline?
it. Yeah,
it's
you guys
full.
just-
The hairline
it's
coming
crazy.
all the way
You
back.
just- that's
That
not
Damn,
nice.
fuck
this was not a fat shaming.
It
It kinda
I
felt
don't
like
know.
it.
You the
Kinda
one
felt
that
like
you
No
put-
shame with
You the
this.
one that put burritos in your pockets. Don't try to make
That's
me.
true. That's
So
true.
but you can. So if you're flying, if you're generating the thrust to fly,
Yeah.
that probably is helping you hold stuff. Is what you're
Yes.
saying.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe like carrying him is probably like the difficult thing, but when you're flying that fast, like he could definitely probably.
This is why we
have
need
him,
a sci-
you know what I'm
I want a scientist to come onto the fucking pod. This is
Yeah.
what I want because maybe you're right. It just when I was watching that, I'm like, I've never seen the Human Torch carry the thing.
I
like
was more concerned about the beard, not like concerned as in worried, but like I didn't know he could grow facial hair. I'm interested to see like why he would have facial hair in the movie.
because if he has facial hair, that means that
He's probably
potentially
downtrodden.
he
See
could
what
have
I'm saying?
rock pubes.
See what I'm saying?
Rock pubes.
Yes.
Chuck again.
That's
You-
twice.
On his,
like,
on his
that's
little
twice.
boulders.
Chuck again.
That's
Let me tell y'all
twice.
something. Just about flight, period. I want to go back to the old style of flight.
Just the
Just like going like that.
I don't like when they take off like a rocket.
I love when they take off like
I think it's why
so you like
now,
so
can you illustrate rocket versus old school flight?
old school flight, that nigga Christopher Reeve would just float. away.
like if it's
Mhm.
Yeah, he just float up and then he fly. Now you gotta go down and go and
Generate,
it looked cool the
yeah.
first time, but not everybody do it.
Uh-huh.
Everybody will no, just fly. You could just fly.
If I was me, I'd fly upside down. I'd go feet first, straight up.
what's wrong with
Just
you?
to fuck with people.
Dude,
Anyway.
all right, so can I ask this? Has the Fantastic Four trailers shown too much? Because now the more and more I watch these trailers, I'm like, oh, so it seems like this movie is just
They're kind of giving it
Galactus.
away.
Yeah, I
It's a
was
lot
like,
of Galactus.
It's a lot of Galactus, but I don't think they're showing too much because we I mean, again, when you know Galactus in the movie, you know he's gonna come and try to eat the planet.
Yeah.
Right? This is the thing with these superhero stories that come from these books that we've been reading for generations. When Doomsday show up, you know what's gonna happen with Superman. When Joker show up, you know kind of what's gonna happen with Batman. When Galactus shows up, you know, okay, he's gonna
That
try
planet's probably gonna get eaten.
right. And so the fact that they haven't like completely shown us all of Galactus at this point is honestly a shock because we know exactly what he's all about. I think, yes, I mean, again, we're going to watch the movie. So maybe for us, it's too many trailers. But for like the regular folk who, for whatever reason, weren't alive in 2005 and 2011 or whatever.
Actually, it's probably for them
stick.
to be like, hey, do you remember the Fantastic Four from back in the day? We're making another Fantastic Four. Here's all the people doing their cool shit.
Right. Maybe it's like, hey, remember those modern Fantastic Four movies we're making? Garbage.
Well, Galactus is the only thing that they have to show us that we haven't seen.
True.
Exactly.
And Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now. What is Fantastic Four tracking at?
I think it's tracking well.
Man, see this money
like
combo,
120
man. It's not for
something,
us, bro. Why are we pocket watching?
Here's my question.
This is a new annoying part of everything.
Everything is like
how much money?
Because
the NBA
watch.
finals were great. The basketball was being played.
But how many people are watching?
What were the ratings? That means fuck.
How many people were at the parade?
Like people like fuck your team. Your team sucks. Nobody watch your team. It don't really matter, man.
Cares?
It definitely. Because here's the thing. You want to know why it matters?
I mean, it matters. It matters for the MCU.
Because now you're like, we do the Thunderbolts thing where it's like we all love the Thunderbolts, or at least I liked it. And then people are like, yeah, but shit, nobody saw it. And I'm like, the numbers do matter,
Well, it matters if you're having a conversation about the success of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
For me, a movie that is successful either has to be good or it has to make money.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people out here talking about movies that were neither that good and then also didn't make a whole lot of money. And I'm like, if you liked it, you liked it. That's cool, but you can't say it's successful.
Right.
The Thunderbolts is a success to me because it is a reiteration that Marvel storytelling can work
Mm-hmm.
and that it can tell stories that are grounded and get us to a place that we want it to go. That's all it means.
So do you think it's also a thing of like, Marvel is either doing one or the other now, where it's either like I think Deadpool and Wolverine is a perfect example of like Deadpool and Wolverine made a lot of fucking money. It was a success by any metric.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you ask most people, did Deadpool and Wolverine did it make you feel better about the state of the MCU?
Not really.
Most people will probably be like, no.
Yeah.
And then you have something like Thunderbolts, which was critically acclaimed. And I think it was people like, damn, okay, they can make a movie again. But it did not have the commercial backing to kind of like correct the ship. And I think Fantastic Four is the one where I'm like, I think it has the potential to do both.
And by the way, the tracking is 125 to 136. Even if it did open at that, it would still only be till the next week when we could judge the movie.
Sure.
Because Ant-Man opened huge and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Captain America opened huge. The tail of this film in terms of its success is going to be the cumulative total. It's going to be
take some time.
7, 8.
Do you think we're marching towards maybe not this big? Do you think that there can be a cultural moment like one rung down from an Oppenheimer of like we have Superman, we have Fantastic Four in theaters. People are like excited to see both. Like if you see one, you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna see.
You know why I think it can't be?
Why not?
Because there was a group of people that were very instrumental in the Barbenheimer thing.
Who?
Women.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Women are a group of people that exist on the earth
Oh.
that have
Wow.
A unique ability to set trends and make things cultural phenomena in a way that male audiences don't normally have the energy to do. The Barbenheimer thing was women starting something, in my opinion, and then like men going, yeah, I can take part. It's cool for me to take part. Because like they were dressing up to go to Barbie. They were they were bringing their daughters to Barbie. They were taking pictures. It was a big moment. And then they were like, oh, but we're also curious enough to see Oppenheimer. And so really it was the Barbie fans that gave the Oppenheimer more male audience permission to go see Barbie than it was the other way around.
Right.
So to have a movement like that, like you need women. You need trendsetters and tastemakers and people that can, make things look beautiful and make cool dances. And you have to have women in this one. This one have that.
I mean, and I think to your point, the things that we've seen the most success with recently, like a Barbie or a Sinners, it is usually a fan base that is underserved, generally, like women or Black audiences who are like, we're making this a cultural phenomenon. And then in the second week, in the third week, in the fourth week, everybody else is just like, we want to be part of this.
Yeah, they all
and I don't know
it.
if like Fantastic Four or Superman it'll be interesting to see. Like, I think they're going to be commercially successful. I don't know. Like,
you need big, and also again, it also helped the fact that like those two movies could not have been more polar opposite to one another.
Yeah.
Like you needed to be like we need Superman, and then we need like I don't know, like an animated Wes Anderson movie. I don't like. It's got to be something that's the complete
Fantastic
opposite. Like
Mr.
if
Fox,
Top Gun
too.
Maverick and Women Talking had the same Barbenheimer like thing going on, that's probably the two things that I would probably think.
You
Like
also
Paw-
need a
Paw
movie
Patrol
about
and
something
Soul.
that's culturally
Yes.
significant. Like
Yeah.
Oppenheimer was a very culturally significant movie by a big, huge director.
Barbie also as well. They were both talking
Mhm.
about very distinct things that were of the moment, where Fantastic Four and Superman are almost like
the same movie, almost.
essentially.
One last thing. This is the most we've seen Pedro Pascal talk in like any of the trailers. Like for whatever reason, they're not giving us a lot of Pedro.
And presumably he won't die.
Well, let's hope not. What do you guys think of like actually getting to see Pedro Pascal? I mean, he's been the rage of news lately between Materialists, Last of Us, been everywhere. Like, what do you guys think about seeing him?
This movie
In
is
the
the
trailer.
litmus test for Pedro Pascal as a movie star.
Okay.
Pedro Pascal as a movie star. This movie is a litmus test for it. Because like I saw Materialists.
Mhm.
Pedro's good in everything that he's in. He's good in everything that he's in.
Yeah.
He was miscast in that movie. They should ask somebody else.
Can I just ask, I haven't seen it. How much like screen time does he have for the
Not very much.
Not very
too
much.
much.
Okay.
But he plays that character in a way that is very interesting.
Mhm.
But if they would have cast that character closer to Richard Gere and Pretty Woman,
like older?
well, not even older. I mean, like the guy's 50 years old.
Yeah.
But if they would have cast that character as a legitimately drop dead, gorgeous, conventionally killer.
Telling me
dude.
that he's not
He's-
Pedro
call
Pascal's
him-
not drop dead gorgeous?
He's telling like the internet's daddy is not gorgeous.
I mean, he is, but like he not Richard Gere and Pretty Woman.
Wow.
I mean, I think you might be
He not.
you might be off on
I
this one,
wouldn't
Van.
say miscast.
Hold on. Wait. All fucking love to Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Well, no, clearly you
You
hate
mean-
his guts.
I love Pedro Pascal.
That didn't sound like it
Right.
to me.
You mean to tell me that Pedro Pascal is as dashing, just straight up as dashing as George Clooney in Ocean's 11?
Yes.
Just off
No,
the rip.
whoa, let's not go that far.
Yeah.
I say there could be a
Brother.
conversation with Richard Gere.
All right.
I get
think-
what you're saying.
I get what
I
you
put-
mean.
I put him on the level-
I get what you mean.
Richard
He's
Gere is
not George Clooney.
I put him on the
Gere
level of
is
like
more
Burt
handsome
Reynolds.
than
Like
Pedro
prime Burt
Pascal.
Reynolds.
Richard
Prime Burt
Gere?
Reynolds?
Yeah,
Huh?
prime Burt
He's
Reynolds.
very handsome. I don't
Richard
think you're
Gere is
acting. Wait,
more-
you're acting like fucking Pedro Pascal is like a fucking bum.
I
Yeah,
never
no.
said that. See, this
You
is
called
what I
him.
hate
know
about-
You
what you're
called him
acting
ugly.
Yeah.
You
This is
called
why-
him ugly.
This is what I hate about y'all's generation. What I hate about y'all's generation is what I said was that Pedro Pascal did a good job, but he was miscast because
He's
I
ugly.
personally think that you needed. Now, I will say that if you watch the movie, there is, and I don't want to ruin Materialist for everyone because I'm the spoiler king and people get mad.
Sure, I saw it. You
But
can
if
talk
you
to me about it.
watch the movie, it does make sense that the character isn't quite naturally that because
Yeah.
there's a part of the film where you understand that character is also reaching for something. But still, like, it's true, but still, is Pedro Pascal the type of actor, just for Materialist, where you walk on, I'll ask everybody, where you walk on screen and women swoon? I never.
Yes.
Yeah, people do though.
Yes.
People do though.
I think
You
no
wanna know
question
what
if
I
you were
actually
culturally
believe?
tapped into
I
what
don't know if I'll get canceled for this. I think he is. I think it's a new thing because Pedro Pascal does have such a queer audience where it's like, I get what you're saying, but I think his sexiness is different. It's a very 2025 thing of just like the audience that, and Richard Gere had that as well. But when you watch Richard Gere, and it is from the landscape of we want women to love this man.
I'm
Whereas
talking about.
Yeah, it's
with
female
Pedro
gaze.
Pascal,
I'm
I
talking
think you're
about
playing with.
I'm talking about young Antonio Banderas. You know what I'm saying?
I think
but
a
you're also
new
looking at it from the
generation
guys of
people do
like,
think
would
of
you
him
want
like
to
that.
be this dude? I think Pedro Pascal's appeal is the fact that like he appeals to women
Right.
a
Okay.
lot more than he appeals to men.
All right, cool. Like that's.
Well, I think a lot of men love.
No, and I'm not saying that he doesn't, but like
I'm
like,
just calling
it's like,
balls and strikes.
I know, but like the appeal of Pedro Pascal is that he is like female gaze coded, written by women. This is what a man written by a woman is. Like in the modern era of a handsome movie
You know
star.
what the funny thing is that like these characters, I've watched these characters all my life.
Mhm.
These characters have existed.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen the perfect man, the unicorn portrayed in movies before.
Sure.
They've been there, and the other guys seem to look better than Pedro Pascal.
Nah, man. So
Who looks better than Pedro Pascal right now?
right now,
Like
who
not
looks better right now?
But in terms of like for the materialist, for a rom-com. That you could put him in a rom-com and you could be like, not only is he hotter than Pedro Pascal, but he got more charm. He could carry this movie.
I don't think anybody has the charm of Pedro Pascal. I think that's why he was cast. I think that was the point of the thing, is that he is charming and it's effortless. It's easy for him. So when he's doing the thing with Dakota Johnson, it doesn't seem like he's reaching. It seems like, oh, this is like he could have
There's
anybody.
a vulnerability that the character had,
Right.
that made the character that he brought to the character.
And that's why it all makes sense. The writing let the whole movie down. We could talk about it later.
Yeah.
But it's just for him specifically, I think he was perfect for that.
And I
role.
also think he's at the age where I'm like, it would be easier to cast that character if he was a little younger, because you have a lot of like hot young actors who you could put in that role. But everybody who's Pedro Pascal, like Brad Pitt's not doing this movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Leo's not doing this movie. And
Crew's
like,
not doing this
also,
movie.
Pedro to me is just like age-wise, he's in that bracket, but because he's a newer star, it's like who is Pedro's age at his level with his charm that you could replace him with in this movie and it works.
And it's also like the virality of him with the whole daddy stuff that happened a couple years ago, and he's carried that beautifully throughout these years of like leaning into that persona while also carving out things that are both like fashionable. He's like a great person to like interview and like do.
You're talking about all the reasons why people like him.
Yes, and that also adds to the fact that why his stardom is
I'm
much higher.
about if we just straight in the thing and you put like this.
You put Prime Richard Gere against Pedro now.
Does Pedro Pascal look as good as Idris Elba? They're the same age.
I think so.
But would Idris have sold this movie though?
Nah, y'all tripping.
Wait.
No. Idris,
Idris is hotter.
Well,
if Idris is in this movie, does it sell?
Well, I mean, first of all, Pedro Pascal is right now as smoking hot as an actor,
as a marketable star. Yes.
However, for movies, and he's been in a lot of movies. For movies, whether or not, going back to my statement before, whether or not his Reed Richards works is going to be a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To how big of a movie star Pedro Pascal is.
Right.
And relating to that, I think it's going to be like more of a coronation for him if his Reed Richards works. That like, okay, you have made it. He is a 4-quadrant
commercially.
Yeah.
But like now it's like, hey, you are a 4-quadrant A++ movie star that we can rely on you for anything now.
Yeah. Good for
Materialist worked. I saw it. I did not like it, but
I haven't seen it yet. I'm just saying, box office wise, it's doing well.
I'll be honest with you. I've never been more confused by a movie than Materialist.
Dude, I couldn't believe what I was watching.
I'm in the movie theater and watching Materialist, and this is, I'm gonna make a movie for white women. Because if you can make a movie
for the first
them,
time, you making the first
if you can make
white
a
woman movie?
No, if you can make a movie that's really for white women, you put Japanese breakfast in that bitch, you gonna win. Because
you put
Japanese breakfast in that
Japanese
movie and you'll
breakfast.
win.
White women love Japanese.
They love
do.
it.
That is true.
Because I'm in this bitch and Materialist is on and it's stuff happening Materialist and they laughing and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, what's going on? It's the stuff like Dakota Johnson would say, hey, I want to come to your play. And people would laugh and I'd be like, what is so funny? what?
If I can be honest, I don't get Dakota Johnson.
I'm looking around in the movie, I'm like, what is happening funny now? Why is it funny? It's not funny.
I don't either, but she has a niche, I think.
She does a thing. But I'm looking around and she's talking to the people and the woman, Sophie, is looking back and Sophie's saying stuff and people are dying laughing. I'm like, why is it funny?
Because it's dry. Her whole thing is the dry humor. And so these people are being like emotional, like vulnerable. And she's just like, this is my job. I really don't care. Like,
all right, I'll put it to you this way. The more we've talked, I actually agree with the man. Richard Gere is hotter than Pedro Pascal. He actually is hotter now. Like, I agree with the man.
He looks better than Pedro Pascal.
Traditionally, I don't disagree with that. But in this specific instance, you needed somebody with some
Hey,
touch.
we're gonna do a vote right here. Breakout.
Who's harder, Prime
I
Richard
want
Gere?
Richard Gere.
Prime Richard
from-
Gere.
I want Richard Gere
One
from
shot.
Pretty Woman.
Open universe.
Richard Gere from Pretty Woman. And I want
Pedro right now.
Pascal from Materialist. I keep saying The Materialist.
The material.
I want.
It's not the Materialist. It's just
It's
Materialist.
Materialist. Yeah.
Drop the.
It's. I
cleaner.
want.
But is Chris Evans not supposed to be like the?
I don't want to talk about it.
I feel
I
it
don't
feels
wanna
like
talk
Chris
about it.
Evans is just
not
like a
in terms
bum
of
now.
What he's playing,
Dog.
but isn't like handsome wise? Isn't Chris Evans supposed to be the Richard Gere?
No, because
I'm talking about physically, not who they play as characters.
Nah. Man. Richard Gere. I want. Nah, man.
you need somebody. You need somebody more like not like somebody who's like more traditional.
I'm talking Clooney, Ocean's 11, Pitt, Ocean's 11, Richard Gere. I'm talking about these fucking guys. I'm talking about.
Is this a different movie if Clooney is Pedro and Pitt is Chris Evans?
Maybe, or Robert Redford from Indecent Proposal. He not fucking with them.
Or
I
like
don't-
Harrison Ford, Witness.
he
But
not
Robert
fucking
can Robert
with them.
Ford bring that tenderness, that
Robert Ford.
vulnerability that Pedro brings?
No, he
in
can't
this-
play the. I'm not talking about that. Pedro did that part of it good, and Pedro is. He's got what there was a scene where we're getting a wide shot. They're talking to him and Dakota Johnson. Are
It's
talking,
funny.
and he's.
No, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. It's a
Why
big
don't
part
we
of the
do a
movie.
materials episode?
We might just
Do we need to do
materials.
materials?
Materials episode.
Well,
Oh,
I'm
no,
just-
I
I
have
have-
materials?
I have so
Like
many thoughts.
do a material. I was in.
I have so many
I
thoughts.
was in materials looking around for the first time. I wanted
You
to throw
sounded like
popcorn.
enraged.
I wanted to throw popcorn on people. Like it's not funny. Like
It was funny.
The movie ended up being a little bit. I wasn't mad at the movie.
I was mad at the movie.
but like it's like there was.
Well,
some-
is anyone hot anymore in these movies? Because if you take like challengers, like obviously the two men in there are like attractive men, but they not.
No, it's
No, but the
They not
movie is
Richard Gere,
sexy.
they not
The
right.
movie
Yeah,
is
Zendaya
sexy.
look good in challenges, bro.
People, it was the whole Rat Boy
bruh,
summer.
Bro, I felt.
They look better in that movie than Pedro Pascal.
And they're dripping
No,
in sweat.
they don't.
No,
they
I'm
don't.
asking
Oh.
because I don't think.
No.
So here, I'm saying it's a different time. We like putting men that are a little bit more realistic in this shit.
Could
bruh.
be.
They should put me in a movie.
Could be. Yeah.
If we put in like real people, they should put me in a movie.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
jump.
yeah.
Jomi is
you know
Pedro
what? 'Cause
Pascal.
I know what they
Yeah,
could do. You know what
yeah,
they
yeah.
could do?
rom-com. Yeah.
If y'all want to put people that's more believable, let's get the BMI up. Cause we fuck too.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's get the BMI up. Let's go. I bet I tell you
So
what y'all
here's-
won't do. Y'all
BMI
won't do
materialists.
calorists. Y'all won't do a movie where y'all do.
Calorists.
How about this?
See?
Because you know who look good? You know who's sexy?
Who?
Survival of the Thickest. What's her name? Michelle.
I don't.
That show is what she is.
Survival
I
of the
haven't
Thickest.
seen that
Y'all-
show.
y'all never seen
Somebody
Survival
type
of the
in
This is
Thickest?
the
this woman.
now the word computer.
Hold on,
John,
y'all never
we
saw.
have nine. We have to go to
I'm-
another pod.
I'm joking. Y'all never saw Survival of the Thickest?
No.
Comedy drama series. Oh.
Survival of
That's a
I
sexy
know.
lady.
She's,
And-
yeah. She was
and-
the host of The Circle.
Yeah, that's a sexy lady.
Michelle, yeah.
And by the way, just showing that we, we sexy too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like we.
So here's the problem. People hate a lot of things. The thing that everybody hates online, at least, is fat people. So nobody will ever watch that. Unfortunately, like that's the one thing.
During
that
any
you
of the
deny
scenes where they were
anybody.
asking Dakota Johnson, were they like actually real? Were any of the guys just like, does she got a fat ass? And then she like,
well,
Kinda,
no,
yeah.
One, yeah.
Kinda,
well, yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
One of those
Damn, I wanna
guys
see-
was Steven Spielberg's son.
Wait,
Really?
what?
I didn't know that.
Okay, I guess we need to see this movie.
You guys got to go see this movie because
I really
I
want to see
don't.
this.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's an aspect of this movie that pissed me off.
This
so
feels like
crazy.
really good rage bait for you.
It was.
I'm sitting in theater.
I think we should all go see it together.
Sure.
I think
Hell
we should
yeah.
go see it. I think we should go see Materialist together in theaters. I'll see it again. We can go see it together. But like a
Pissed me
Friday
off.
night show where everybody's there, the whole Japanese breakfast crowd, and just watch how they respond to the movie. I'm looking around.
White women like more music than Japanese. They listen to Mitski, High.
Yeah, it's Mitski. Hot.
Oh,
Time, yeah.
Time.
Han.
I'm
White
with them
women
on
love.
Han.
Hey,
I love Han
awesome.
too. I love
All right,
Han
we gotta
too.
go.
Coming soon material. Let's
Gotta go. That's a wrap.
my God.
This week on the Ringiverse feed. Tomorrow, House of R brings you their Stranger Things Season 1 revisit. This Friday, Button Mash returns with their thoughts on Death Stranding 2. Also coming soon is our latest episode of the Ringiverse Recommends. Our producers in the Salt Factory are Aleya, Zenieris, Whaley. Whaley, shout out to Jay. Our very own Ironheart. Jay got a very Ironheart. I can see Jay being an Ironheart. If we put Jay
What is
on
an
camera
Ironheart?
right now,
What is an Ironheart?
she looked like she would be a member of Ironheart crew.
She be out there in Chicago robbing
If we
people?
put Jade on camera right now, y'all will see what I'm talking about. The Ironheart show is a whole cast of Jades.
okay.
It's facts.
A fun ragtag group of misfits doing crimes.
Yeah, but it's like when I'm looking at the black youth, that's what I will say about Ironheart. I'm
The
like,
youth?
oh shit, they got those little hats on. You know how the niggas wear the little hats with the thing, and the hat's not really on their head, but it's on top of their hair.
Yankee hat, no brim?
Yeah, they got.
I
all
have to
this
be real.
stuff.
I love Saba. Shout out to Saba. Saba's an amazing artist. I'm like, if y'all don't get some Destroy Lonely up in this bitch.
I don't know what that is. Jomi Adeniran on social, hashtag Jomi BMIist.
I don't know. I came to it late.
Wow.
What is
Steve,
with you?
That was the
Wow.
last. That was the last zinger we had.
That's-
I tried to do this like the
That's-
moment that you
that's
start reading
crazy.
the
Steve
credits.
called me fat on the podcast.
That's
The BMIist right
crazy.
there.
That's
That's
crazy.
insane.
We made the.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool.
Daddy.
I'm gonna get the Zempi. Don't worry.
Additional
No,
production
don't do
from
that.
Arjuna, Ramgopowell, Jack Sanders. I'm watching you, bro.
Jesus.
Everybody asks what
Chuck,
time
take us
it
out.
is.
White women love Japanese breakfast. It's time for the Midnight Boys to leave. And if you would like to know how a bunch of niggas talk, ask Steve.
Jack Sanders just treated me poorly.
Oh,
How'd that
Wait,
happen?
why?
Me and Jack Sanders are the baseball bros of
Mhm.
the Ringer. I don't
Okay.
know if you guys have heard this.
Yeah.
And so when you see Jack Sanders around, I want everyone who's doing a great job. He's doing a great job on a big picture. I want everyone, when you see Jack Sanders, say, what time is it?
okay.
Because it's something he's supposed to say back.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And so then me and Jack Sanders have this thing together. He's agreed to do it.
Is he going to get upset or pissed?
About what?
About what time is it? Is this something? Are you doing
What is the
your-
call in response to this call? Well, like, what is he supposed
Well,
Are
to
you
say?
doing your
it's
thing
a
where you
surprise.
nudge, you bully a little? Am I?
That's what I was worried about. I was
Yeah.
like, are you
Okay,
bullying
what's
Jay?
the nudge and bully thing? Let's
All
break
right,
this down.
bro. Dan,
Okay, let's talk about it.
you are the greatest at knowing the exact thing to say to someone
just to-
at a moment to just set them off.
Okay, true.
Yes. A
But-
legendary shit stir.
But
Yes.
at the same time, with Jack Sanders at this point, this is about camaraderie. It's
Okay.
always about camaraderie.
If I
Okay?
will say, Jack Sanders is a little you because Jack Sanders likes to stir the pot a little bit. I remember we was out. He likes to
He likes to stir the pot.
He likes to stir the pot.
He does. Now-
Don't tell me. Shut
I have
the fuck
nothing
up.
to say. I have
Now-
nothing to say.
So I'm over there getting a coffee,
Right.
and I see Jack Sanders. If you guys don't know Jack Sanders, he's fantastic, doing a great job over there.
Video producer on the
Video
Big Pick,
producer,
among many other things.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
And I say to him, I say, what time is it? And Jack Sanders looks at me, he goes, I don't have time for it right now, Van. I got
I know
two very
exactly. I
important
know
people.
exactly what he's supposed to say.
I got no time. You know what he's supposed to
I know
say?
exactly what he's supposed to say. What's wrong with you?
Okay. Did he tell you what he was supposed to say?
No, but I know you enough to know exactly what you want him to say.
Yeah. Jomi, what do you think it is?
It's nigger time.
That's what I'm supposed to say. That's what he's supposed
How
to
can it be
say.
anything
Wait a minute,
else?
wait a minute, wait a minute.
How can it
So
be
that's it?
anything else?
It'll be that.
That's what he's supposed to say.
So wait, so
Why?
he said that before?
He's never said it.
Okay.
But that's what he's supposed to say.
I'm seeing Jack Sanders in 2 hours, and I'm. What time is it?
Say, you gotta say it to him.
Wait.
And so I said that to him, and he goes, "Not now, Van. I got very important people here." And so I see this guy, right? This very handsome guy. I thought it was Kimberg for a second because he had a very Simon Kimberg look. It wasn't Kimberg.
Wasn't him.
it was the director of Top Gun Maverick
That's right.
Oh,
and
Zenieris?
F1. What's the guy's name?
I don't know.
John
Kalansky.
Yeah, he's a very great director. And I shook his hand, very strong handshake. And I looked at him like, this is a guy who looks like he's in charge, all black, very sleek. But I thought, how disappointed. I am so disappointed when people don't do my gimmicks. When I come up with a gimmick
Can't imagine why he would.
for someone.
Right. Can't commit to
We
your
have a
bits.
gimmick. Yeah, I have a great gimmick for Aleya.
Does Aleya agree with this?
John.
She does not.
I have a fucking fantastic gimmick for Aleya, and Aleya will not do my gimmick. She won't do my gimmick. Aleya, we don't have to talk about what the gimmick actually is, but be honest, didn't I come up with a great gimmick for you, and you refused to do the gimmick?
I don't know this gimmick. Enlighten me.
Remember,
once a month?
All of you.
once a month you were supposed to come on here and talk about an issue that you cared about?
Oh. Why?
Jesus
Because she's
I'm gonna let that
one of
sink
the-
in for the
One of
fans.
the women
Once a month.
working on the Midnight Boys?
No, Aleya, you guys don't understand. Aleya has such great takes. Aleya has such great takes.
She does.
I love being in conversation with Aleya. It always distracts me from my work. We had a whole conversation about Sabrina Carpenter and what's the other lady name? The bathwater lady?
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney. We talked about it, and I was like, all right, we can't do it every week. It's the Midnight Boys, and let's face it, we already got a lot of cooks in the kitchen over here. So I was like, once per month, Aleya should be able to really talk about something that's
Right.
bothering her or that's on her mind. And I came to Aleya with this, and then she wasn't into it.
You think our very vocal male and sometimes Saji audience is going to meet some of Aleya's great takes?
This is why
as
they're
they should.
needed more than ever, in my opinion.
So you want to throw
I
Aleya to
would
these
Convert the
boys.
masses.
You know what my problem
for
is?
content.
This is what my problem is. Everybody who I think is interesting, I want to platform them. Because if I have a good conversation with you,
Mhm.
I know that somebody else wants to hear that conversation. And Aleya threw it back in my face. She wouldn't do my gimmick, and it's burning me. Jack Sanders won't do my gimmicks.
For good reason.
Aleya won't do my gimmicks.
Yeah.
A lot of your gimmicks, I will say, just traditionally would land most of us in HR. So I feel them.
I can't deny it.
Real quick, not John Kalansky. Joseph Kaczynski.
Kaczynski, yeah.
Joseph Kaczynski?
Yeah.
His last name is
Kaczynski?
Kaczynski?
Yes.
That's tough.
Kaczynski.
Kaczynski. That was him.
Yeah,
He's
sure.
wearing, guys, turn around. He's wearing the same fucking outfit in his Wikipedia picture that he just had. He just
I mean,
took
you're
that
lying.
If you got a good suit,
I
you got a
swear.
good suit.
You're
He liked your
lying.
He just took that Wikipedia. They just got that Wikipedia picture from
Hey, that's
something. and then he
eco-conscious.
came-
Be a
he
repeat offender.
Very nice guy.
He directed the Starry Night commercial for Halo 3.
Yes. And
Also-
Tron Legacy.
Also, just to be honest with you, like a great sensibility as a director. You could tell F1's going to be on some shit.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
watching it tonight. He probably thought I was lying, but he doesn't realize that we're watching it tonight with Otto at the Midnight Movie Club.
Mm.
All right, I don't know why we're so. Aleya, do you have anything to add about?
I feel like that's post credits for sure.
You have anything?
Fans
to add?
can look forward to Aleya's time of the month coming soon.
That's the name of the gimmick.
Jesus Christ.
Can we get to Ironheart?
Okay, I'm sorry.
We haven't even done programming for my.
That's
We
a
haven't
good
even-
gimmick. This is
We haven't even done this.
I
Shout out to everybody.
know. I know. This obviously gonna be post credits now. Like I'm telling you, that's a
It's not.
good gimmick though. That could turn into a whole pod. That could turn into a whole. Okay, fine. You know what? Fuck it.
We gotta talk about
You know
the
what?
name. We have to fix the name.